At 7 p.m. on Monday, January 26, 2026, a public hearing will be held to obtain the views of the citizens concerning community development and housing needs as required by the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. The Village of Romeo will be receiving $2,500 in Community Development Block Grant Funds for fiscal year 2026 from the Macomb County Urban County Program. Federal guidelines require that maximum priority be given to activities which primarily benefit low or moderate income families or which aid in the prevention of elimination of slums or blight. A variety of projects are eligible for community funds, which include, there's a list of them, citizens residing in the blighted areas or lower income persons are encouraged to participate. So at this time, we'll open the public hearing. If you are here to speak about CDBG funds or requests, now is the time to step to the podium. Yes, yeah, come on up to the podium.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm representing Samaritan House. I am a board member and a longtime volunteer, and it has been another very busy year at Samaritan House. We were able to fill the gap during the government shutdown when the SNAP benefits were suspended, and we continued to meet the needs of those in our community, providing fresh meat, dairy, produce, personal hygiene, and cleaning supplies. Samaritan House is not just a box of food. We meet face-to-face with our clients, so that's one of the things that I do there, assessing their needs, and we have vast resources to help people. Besides clients being able to visit our pantry on a monthly basis, we offer boxes of food filled with items specifically for Easter and Thanksgiving, along with a gift card to purchase the meat of their choice. We provide coats and boots to children, kindergarten through 5th grade, and we also provide backpacks and supplies. For Christmas, we gave gifts of food and gift cards for our families. We deliver groceries also monthly to the homebound, and the Accounting Aid Society uses our building during tax season to provide free income tax returns to a lot of our people that come to us and also people that don't. It's open to everyone, and as long as they qualify. And the Village of Romeo, we provided food assistance to 70 families, most who visit our pantry on a monthly basis. This equates to 24,032 meals at a cost of $72,096. That seems like a lot, but that's easily the figures that we came up with. And this is all the facts and figures that I'm giving you are for the year from October 2024 to September 2025. And we also delivered groceries monthly to 14 homebound clients. And we provided 46 families with an Easter food box and 43 families with a food box for Thanksgiving, along with a $25 gift card. Our backpack program supplied a backpack and supplies to 9 children. 6 children received new boots and coats through the Boot and Coat program. And 43 families received gifts and food gift cards for Christmas. We respectfully request $1,000 in community block grant funds. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I have just a couple pictures too I can pass out to you. Some of the examples are there in the pictures of the things that we do. But thank you so much. We really appreciate
Thank you. Thank you
any
for your
help you
time.
can give us. Thank you.
Do we have any others for CBDG? Come on up.
I apologize. I had a little trouble finding the nice police officer said, come down the street. I said, okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Jillian Grabowski. I am a case manager in the Turning Point Shelter Program. Turning Point has been providing a safe place for families fleeing violence since 1980. Across all agency programs, Turning Point has provided services to residents of Romeo. Turning Point's emergency shelter program is a safe haven for survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, and human trafficking. It provides immediate safety, crisis intervention, and resources to families trying to establish basic safety. The project is a multifaceted approach to end violence in families. Turning Point's 2 shelter case managers meet with every new shelter resident within 24 hours of their arrival to develop an individualized plan based upon their goals. They also work on a plan for safety, housing, and financial stability. This plan can include literacy, immigration, credit repair, and supportive counseling for domestic violence, sexual violence, and human trafficking after leaving shelter. The emergency shelter case management program has developed collaborations and linkages to multiple systems, organizations, businesses, and churches that can help survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, and human trafficking maintain their safety when leaving shelter. There is a strong evidence that states that improving survivors' knowledge of and access to community resources leads to higher quality of life and less risk of reabuse over time. Resource building serves as a protective factor that enhances women's safety over time. Turning Point continues to provide comprehensive services to children while in shelter and after they leave. Children in shelter receive crisis support, tutorial, and educational assistance, safety planning, recreational activities 7 days per week. A day camp runs all summer. Many children keep in contact with us for many months after they leave shelter. A child crisis advocate works with children and teens in shelter and is able to follow them after they leave shelter to continue offering individual and supportive services. Turning Point's shelter facility is completely handicap accessible, has increased educational indoor and outdoor play areas for children and teens, private sleeping and bathroom areas, multi-purpose rooms that function as a dining and family area, private dedicated counseling spaces, and spaces for other nonprofits to be on site to deliver their services. Turning Point is requesting $500 to fund shelter meals, basic needs, crisis intervention, case management, child care, program advocacy, support, and informational groups. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
And I also have a folder. I'll just hand it over to you.
Do we have anybody else here? Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Or do you have something we can help?
Hi, my name is Sherry Warnock, and I'm a volunteer coordinator at Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. And I had a really hard time finding you. I'm so sorry to come in late. With over half of Macomb County residents aged 40 and older and 25% of county residents aged 60 and older, this large group of seniors needs extra support services due to changes that come with aging, health conditions, disabilities, and at the same time, family structures are changing, often leaving seniors with nobody nearby to help. For over 30 years, our nonprofit organization has been providing free basic assistance to hundreds of frail, older, and physically challenged adults, helping them remain safely in their homes with the help of hundreds of volunteers. This assistance helps with transportation, chores, respite breaks, errands, reducing loneliness. And these opportunities provide fulfilling experiences for those who wish to volunteer, as well as support for those who need it. The CDBG Safe at Home project of IVC is part of our larger chore and repair program, and it was developed to provide additional chore and repair services in communities that allocate funding for this purpose. Safe at Home allows us to assist low to moderate income seniors and physically challenged adults with indoor and outdoor chores, minor home repairs, and routine housekeeping. We identify individuals who cannot do these tasks on their own and have limited resources and prioritize those with the greatest need. We are requesting CDBG funds to increase the number of low-income citizens we can reach to grow our program, as well as to coordinate the volunteers who do these services. IVC provides over 20,000 hours of help over all of its services to nearly 500 people in need each year. With CDBG funding, we expect to complete 3 chore and repair tasks in Armada Township, in Romeo, in the current 2025-26 funding year, and even more in the coming year. And we just actually acquired a new client in the last week or so from your area. We are increasing outreach efforts in this area, and we're confident that additional CDBG funding will allow us to assist even more residents of Romeo with this much-needed service. We regularly get phone calls and notes of thanks for the things that our volunteers do, because once they're in a house, they can see other things that need to be done, and quite often we'll handle them while they're there. So volunteers can step in and help with housework and chores and things for the people that they visit if they're unexpectedly hospitalized. They're already comfortable in the home, which is a great relationship. Other examples through this project would be replacing locks, washing windows, raking leaves, housekeeping, installing smoke alarms. There's a lot of tasks that fall under the chores and repairs. With CDBG funding, the Safe at Home project can continue to grow, and assistance can be granted to a variety of lower-income Romeo senior citizens and disabled adults. So thank you to the Board of Trustees for your consideration. Any dollar amount is greatly appreciated in our program, and we hope to continue to partner with you going forward. And if you know of anyone who could use our services, please send them our way. And if you know of anyone who could volunteer from your area, we'd love to have them as well. Our website's ivcinfo.org. Can I answer any questions for you? No? Thank you.
You have on here, I guess I do have a question. You have on here, on your handout, requesting $360, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Turning Point, did you have a dollar amount requested? Okay. Just trying to keep it all together. Do we have any others? Okay. Seems that we can close our public hearing for now. It's 7:12. And now we will open our regular Board of Trustees meeting for January 26, 2026 at 7 o'clock. Let us all stand for the pledge. Clerk Lucero, could you please call the roll?
Certainly. Bartholomew? Here. Edwards?
Here.
Fowler? Yeah. Kare?
Here.
Parker?
Present.
Rosso?
Present.
President Poznanski?
Here. Moving on, we have our approval of the agenda. I do have one item that I would like to request of the council to add. If you've checked your email today, we did have an email from our chair of the Planning Commission, specifically regarding the zoning books and planning. So I said that I would see how everyone felt about adding an agenda item here tonight for discussion. I would throw it probably at the end under unfinished, because it has been spoken about before. So if we did I, let's do planning and zoning ordinance discussion, call it that. And with that, do we have anything else for the agenda, or do we have an approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as stated with the addition of Planning Commission ordinance discussion.
Support?
Okay, so we have a motion by Edwards, support by Bartholomew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have none opposed. Let's move into our minutes. We had two sets of minutes. If we recall, last meeting had left out our special meeting for November 13th, so we'll start with them. We'll do them separately. Do we have a motion for the November 13th, 2025 special meeting?
Motion?
Sorry, was that Bartholomew?
Yes. Support.
Okay. Motion by Bartholomew, support by Kare. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have none opposed. And let us move into our December 15th, 2025 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 15th, 2025 meeting.
We have a motion by Matt Edwards. Do we have a support?
Support.
Second by Bartholomew. Do we have any further discussion?
I just have a question.
Yes.
Page 1, 2, page 6,
Okay.
and it could just be the way it got printed, but it says Planning Commission, and then it lists, tree-
Yeah, the heading is
Yeah, that should have
inappropriate.
been true.
Tree Board heading.
Correct, yes, that's inappropriate. Correct, can correct that. Anything further? Okay, does the motion still stand with the correction?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of the December 15th meeting minutes with the correction, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have none opposed. Okay, moving into our council bills, we have bills in the amount of $141,526.23 and $351,134.61. Do we have a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Okay.
Support.
Motion by Edwards, support by Bartholomew. Do we have discussion?
Who is this, Success Stone Strategies?
Could you, what page you're on?
On page 2.
What's at the top?
1/8/2026.
That's our.
Number is
Grant writer.
132052.
$4,600.
I don't know where you're at.
Yes.
It is the third page, quarter of the way down,
I'll have
halfway down. You might stand up.
4,600.
Would you like me to answer?
Yes, go ahead, Clerk.
That's our grant writer. That was passed back in October.
I see it now.
Is that a monthly fee?
Yes. And we will be, I will have a full report for you guys next month on the meeting minutes, probably under unfinished business. Because one of the things we did tell you guys is that we would give you guys an update on everything that we're working on. So I'm getting that together. I just couldn't get it together for this month with all the RFPs and stuff that are out there and dealing with that. But yes, that's our grant writer.
Do you have any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, do we have our motion by Edwards, support by Bartholomew, all in favor of the bills as, pardon me?
That needs to be a roll.
Could you please call the roll?
Sorry. Edwards,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Rosso,
No.
Parker,
No.
Fowler,
No.
Kare,
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. Just after the budget, you will see our treasurer report to date. With our investment, we have earned $842,000, 483. So just shy of $1 million since starting to invest our money that just sits there anyways.
That's great.
Moving into our presentations. Kay, are you here for the DDA or is it somebody else? Okay, Danielle.
Okay, we'll make it brief. I know you have a lot on your agenda. From the DDA, our executive director delivered our 2025 impact report to the board of our successes for last year. Two of our top goals for 2025 were to increase the number of visitors downtown, and we're happy to say that that was accomplished. It was increased by 4.9% to 1.1 million visitors in 2025. And the length of stay went from 60 minutes to 81 minutes. Let's see what else. For 2026, tourism is top of mind this year. We want to continue to draw visitors from far and wide. We've talked about expanding our marketing reach through targeted campaigns and paid ads. A goal is to see our marketing on tourism sites like Pure Michigan and to see a creative work recognized in grant awards. We're developing a visitor's guide. It's almost done right now, and it will be placed at rest areas. In 2026, we are project focused. Our one major infrastructure project is our multimodal streetscape project. March 25th is the town hall meeting at the Masonic Temple. This is where Giffords Webster will unveil their conceptual designs for this project and be on site for an evening of questions and answers. We hope everyone will be able to join us. This is an open house, town hall. Please come out. Please share your ideas, your thoughts, suggestions. Again, that date is March 25th. We'll be putting more information out on our website, our Facebook. I'm sure the village will share it as well with more details when they're available. And lastly, during our recent joint meeting with the trustees, it was mentioned that we may look to roll out some of our wayfinding project in phases to allow us to see some real progress on our wayfinding signs, specifically around the parking signs. So we are working on that, and we have developed several funding strategies to present to the DDA next week that will help put signs in the ground this year. And that's about it for right now. Any questions?
Just one thing.
Yeah.
On my, I don't know if you guys had anything to do with it or not, but on my front page, MSN front page of my computer, I was just kind of going through, opened it up, no real reason, but one of the articles on there was about a small little quaint village in Michigan, and it was all about Romeo. So they had a whole full article, big picture and everything, right on the front page of the MSN. So,
Awesome.
I don't know if you had anything to do with it or not, but it was there.
Cool. Thank you.
Kay says that she doesn't know.
Any other questions for me?
That meeting's at 6 PM,
I'm sorry, which
the
one?
meeting, the town hall?
I think it's at 6. It might be 6:30, but once we have that
Okay.
finalized, it'll be out there.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Yep.
Moving on to our tree board presentation.
Okay. I'm Joe Young. I'm a tree biologist with the Department of Forestry at Michigan State University. I did my undergraduate at Oakland University just down the road, PhD at MSU, and I'll have that wrapped up in a couple months here. First and foremost, though, I am also a graduate of Romeo High School, all the way from Croswell Elementary, back when it was still the Red Sea. I spent my time there, spent my time at what's now the middle school. I've worked with the tree board over the past few years. As things get up and running, just giving a little bit of guidance. Recently, they were able to get some funding to do a tree inventory over the last summer. Got all the data from that. I've looked at that. I've obviously spent time in Romeo. So I just wanted to give kind of a state of the trees, sort of where we're at, what issues we might be facing, and then sort of the path moving forward. So first off, I just kind of wanted to cover some of the benefits of urban trees. And yes, Romeo counts as an urban place as far as we're talking with trees. So there's a few sort of main benefits that you get from trees. You get it to physical infrastructure, but you also get it to social infrastructure and social welfare. So in terms of the physical infrastructure, we have things like expanding the lifespan of roads. So there's a study that came out that showed that you save about 66 cents per square foot of road over 30 years just by having a tree canopy over that road. When it bakes in the sun all day, it's disposed to cracking, salt gets in those cracks, water gets in those cracks, freeze expands, all those things that make Michigan roads what they are. having a canopy over those roads can help stave off some of that sort of initial ignition point where those problems start to compound over time. Street trees also do a lot of interception with rainfall, which reduces what's known as the storm surge, which is as rain comes, you see this huge volume of water that's generated, goes into the storm drain infrastructure. Street trees help a lot with that, and they reduce erosion, which reduces wear and tear on the underground storm infrastructure, stops erosion, washing over sidewalks, causing hazards, those types of things. There's also a number of many thousands of studies that show that human health improves with increases in urban tree canopy. And this is controlling for other factors like income and those sorts of major things that you tend to associate. People simply live longer and they live better lives, is what the research would show about having strong canopies surrounding our communities. Then to personal levels, in terms of how it benefits any individual community member, there's a very large review that came out, which took 22 separate different studies, combined all the data from them, and looked for, in the Midwest, what actually happens with property value. And they found that an individual home increases value by $422 for every 1% increase in tree canopy within 1 mile. Now, if you're a homeowner, you might be thinking, I don't care about $422. I'm going to spend that next month anyways. But if we think about a village like Romeo, where we say conservatively, we have maybe 500 houses within a square mile or something like that, those individual percentage points changes in urban canopy manifests in hundreds of thousands of dollars of value that we're getting. Remember, if we have 500 houses, 2% change in canopy, we're talking about a $400,000 difference in the value of houses aggregately. Lastly, I want to mention, in terms of energy savings, that you can save up to 15% on your annual energy bill just by having an increase in tree canopy. This is true for municipal buildings, this is true for residential. It tends to average a little bit lower than that, but in peak summer, we can get up to about 15%. So with all this in mind, what it looks like when we're walking around in Romeo and we have this big canopy, I want to move on to what Romeo's canopy actually looks like. So under ideal conditions, an urban canopy or an urban forest will have both high-value tree species, so species that aren't invasive, aren't known for infrastructure conflicts, can handle salt tolerance, all those types of things. And you also have a diverse age structure. Usually you want a little bit heavy on the young tree side, knowing some of them will die off, and kind of hedging your bets for the ones that will make it into maturity. According to the inventory that we did, Romeo's tree canopy is very mature. Most of the trees in that inventory were about 20 inches or wider in diameter, which can correspond to a tree that's anywhere 50, 60 to well over 100 years old. Those are relatively mature trees by urban forest standards. The other thing that they found is that the majority of the trees that were in the inventory had health problems. These ranged for a wide variety of reasons, anywhere from the wrong tree planted in the wrong space, poor pruning over time, or just any other sort of random circumstance that can lead to health decline. With those ones that were found to have conflicts with infrastructure that were causing the health problems, every single time there was a conflict with infrastructure, it was a species that's considered undesirable by the Michigan DNR's community guidelines for urban forestry. These are species like box elder, which is native but tends to be weedy and kind of gets out of control. White mulberry, which is an invasive that grows very fast and spreads to places that you don't necessarily want it, as well as tree of heaven, which is, again, an invasive tree that shows up in places we didn't necessarily plan on or account for. So keep in mind all of those benefits that we get from our existing canopy, and then think about the state of health of that urban canopy over Romeo. Kind of puts us on a knife edge here, where right now we reap these rewards, but the more that canopy gets neglected, the more we're going to lose a lot of those benefits. So moving on to what can actually happen. Remember, there's a lot of individual trees at risk. So although the canopy seems green, if we went down and the data shows, if we look at the numbers, we actually have a broad sweeping risk to trees broadly, ranging anywhere from just mild risk to some trees that are high risk of being lost, and then actually some trees on the inventory that were already dead. And right now we know that there's those issues like infrastructure conflicts, poor pruning, poor maintenance, and we know that these are old trees. So a lot of these trees are suffering from decisions that were made 30, 40, 50 years ago, or even beyond that. There's an enormous amount of research, an enormous amount of knowledge that has been gained in the last 30 years, 20 years, even the last 5 years about best practices for maintaining trees, tree selection, avoiding infrastructure conflicts, all those types of things. So specifically the Michigan DNR Urban and Community Forestry Program, which is already funded by our tax dollars, puts together an enormous amount of information on this. They have staff out of Metro Detroit that can work with the community to help make decisions about the tree canopy going forward, as well as universities throughout the Midwest and Michigan State University. They continuously publish what's kind of common language descriptions of the state of the research, changes that are going on with our understanding of urban trees. And all of that information is available to us. And really, we just have to focus our attention on accessing it. So what I want to point out now is, moving forward, the thing that's most important is thoughtful and continuous maintenance as well as establishment of trees in Romeo. Right now, we have an age demographic which is far too old for our tree canopies. So as they die off, we're left with very large holes in our urban canopy and reductions in the amount of canopy cover. So you want to be preemptively planting in the places where we have the authority to, in order to maintain that. So it would be city property that's on any of the easements that we have authority to plant on, those types of things. Right now, we kind of rely on the habits of private individuals to maintain that urban canopy. But remember, this is a systemic problem. This isn't the type of thing that one person thinks about and makes that the decision. It's something that takes broad scale planning, thinking about these problems over long time scales and over a large amount of space. That really takes some investment at a level beyond just what a private individual is capable of doing. So with that comes also the investment in the maintenance of the trees that we already have, those mature trees and things like that. In the places we can intervene and improve health or reduce conflicts, we should go in and do that. The last one, too, would be establishing very clear and strict protocols for putting new trees in the ground. Things that very clearly lay out how we're going to avoid conflicts, the species that are going to be approved, which species are approved in which context, as well as physically how the tree goes in the ground. That is where, by far, the majority of problems start, is when you actually plant the tree. So with all that in mind, if you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer them, but this is kind of where we're at with the state of Romeo's tree canopy and sort of the things we should be focusing on, in my opinion, moving forward.
So if you don't have the space in the easement or a village-owned property, you mentioned about private property, the homeowners, would you guys be also contacting them to put a tree in the property?
So that's something that the tree board might be interested in doing. And something I've done in the past with the village is focus a little bit on public education. So a few years ago, we had an Arbor Day event and things like that, that tries to help individuals understand those problems about infrastructure conflicts and things like that, as well as just simply proper planting and maintenance that tend to lead to those long-term problems.
So if you guys plant the tree in my property, and I just let it grow and give it water and stuff like that, then it's my responsibility to watch the tree grow, not yours. Okay. But that's possibly out there, though.
It'd be possible, yeah, to educate private individuals, to encourage them to establish trees in a way that's consistent with how we think the tree canopy should change over time, yeah.
So once you plant it, my property, it's my concern.
If you plant it in your property, yeah.
Yes, the tree board's not going to
All right,
plant
there you
trees.
go.
Yeah.
All right, so, okay. Thank you.
That is why the heavy burden of the village is that in the trees being in the easement, At what point the village determined to no longer do that, because there's a heavy burden to the village residents and the taxpayers, not only infrastructurally underground, but yearly we put aside $80,000, and it does not touch the problem, because to our systemic issues, the elderly trees need a lot of care. So at some point this could turn, but that's just where we're at the moment.
Right.
Marion had a previous clerk, she had a program going to where they actually went out and planted trees in front of the property. I have one in my yard now, growing healthy. But it was my responsibility to watch the thing go on in the house.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I think where the village can have the authority to plant on their own property or the areas they control, makes sense to do it. Because as a private individual, trees are an investment, things like that. But as I kind of established, I think, the urban canopy is a public good. And I think, you know, people acting in the public interest should take their role and maintain that public good, that public resource.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we already did our CBDG, Gabridge to our audit. Do you need me to help you? Do you have the presentation with you?
I did not bring my laptop.
Okay, well
Do you
then,
guys have it in front of you, though?
we do, the council does, yes.
Sorry about that. In a rush.
Oh, we could, would you like it up?
Sure.
Okay, the clerk Lucero can do that. Small pause. At the time of packets, I did not have the bound audit. That is what's at your table here. It's the same thing, but I did want to get it into your hands before, so that is
Okay.
where that is. So I think we received it Thursday. Is there a small gray pouch just in there? Yep.
Yep.
If you pull it out, there's, I'll need that. Heat good, or should we turn it off now? Do you want my coat? Put it over your leg?
Of course, it's the wrong side.
We don't pay for that one.
I think it's rugged. Oh, no.
It's coming, I can see it. It's waking up.
Where are we going?
In a second.
Or was that 2 years?
Just connected to the display.
2 years.
Oh, cool.
Be out of business.
Cheers to that. Sorry if I go down to your background.
Talk about the sky is falling.
Sorry. There we go. Click. Yeah, it's not finding it right now.
So do you have the other remote?
So we're reviewing the June 30, 2025 audit. It's the fiscal end for the village. So as you guys should always expect, you should expect to receive an unmodified opinion. That's what we issued this year. It's the highest level of assurance we can issue. Like I said, you should expect it. If you didn't get it, obviously you'd be getting a bunch of love letters from the state. So congratulations on that. Besides that, we had no internal control deficiencies that we had to report, no deficit fund balances or net positions that required a corrective action plan. I do believe one of the water sewer funds does have a unrestricted deficit, but that's just caused by some of those long-term assets and liabilities. And then no material budget deficiencies, so no other love letters from the state as well. Obviously, the budget is a living document and isn't always perfectly hit, so that's great to be able to report. Some of the high-level financial highlights across all governmental funds, the village ended with roughly $7 million in fund balance. That was about a $2 million decrease. Most of that decrease was stemming from the road project fund bond getting spent down. And then of that, $4.3 million of that is just from the general fund, which is the main operating fund of the village. That was a $300,000 decrease, with roughly $4 million of that being unassigned, which is 92% of the village's annualized expenditures and transfers out. So that's a healthy fund balance for a village. Obviously, takes a lot of work to get there and stay there, so it's something to always maintain. As you know, even with that road project, you can spend $2 million in a heartbeat. Fire trucks too, if you have those capital contributions coming up towards that as well, those can drain that money really quickly as well. So always something to be paying attention to, but as of right now, a good place. Kind of can track it from the last 5 years, 2021 on the left, 2025 over the last 5 years. You can see the fund balance is kind of tricked up a little bit with all the COVID ARPA dollars coming in, and then we're coming back to that normal homeostasis of that 80 to 100% reserve level.
And if I could just step in, correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, but part of that loss in the general fund is due to the overage in our fire ALS contract. That is where that is fed from. So we have that as part of our story, but just to point that out now when you see that.
Yeah, on the statement of net position, this is government-wide, so it's all of the funds for the governmental activities and then the water and sewer for those business-type activities. You can see that large decrease in cash. Once again, that's those road projects. That also is the large increase in capital assets and ties in with the accounts payable with that whole project ongoing, just timing of those bills coming in. Besides that, I'll talk about the net pension and that OPEB liability a little bit later. Those stayed relatively stable. Then for the statement activities, the revenues and expenditures for the year, as you can see, there really weren't any crazy changes there, just some changes between operating grants, capital grants. Those are just grants in their nature, kind of come and go. Property taxes, you can see that slight increase. That's kind of been the statewide average to see a little trickle up there. And then, as talked about earlier, the interest income looks like we pretty much a little over doubled over the last year, so that's great to see that the village is finding ways to invest that and get return on money that they currently aren't using. And as far as expenditures go, that stayed relatively flat, barring those major projects that were ongoing, being the one change in expenditures. So I'm going to talk about the pension and the OPEB a little bit. Obviously, these are long-term liabilities. The village has been hovering around that 60% funded. The state has a two-tiered threshold for if you guys are requiring a corrective action plan there. The first being, are you funded at 60% or above? You guys are close, you're not quite there.
It depends on the year.
Yep.
Because we have been.
Yep. I was gonna say, you can see in 2021 you were, and that was actually probably about the worst time, I think, to be there. Because the state did give out some money for if you were under 60%.
We were able to get some in
Okay.
22.
Yeah.
But then it changed and then we were right back under.
Yep. Yeah, so obviously, that changes over time, obviously something to pay attention to, but right now, not a concerning level. There's a second catch for 12% of your ADC, which you guys aren't close to, so that's always good to pay attention to, but right now, not a major issue. And then the OPEB doesn't have quite the same, the rules are there, but the way OPEB has been funded in our state historically has been pay-as-you-go for pretty much every entity. With some of those changes that came under PA 202 of 2017, they're trying to force everyone to be funded in pay attention to those liabilities, so you can see the funded ratio over the last 5 years is over doubled. So heading the right direction there, once again, also not in that area of needing a corrective action plan, but something to pay attention to. Obviously, you guys are funding it, so.
Is there a point that we need to be at that? I know with pension at 60, does OPEB have a point?
OPEB is 40,
Okay.
and we're currently under the corrective action plan for OPEB, which is why we contribute $200,000 a year towards the plan, which is why you see this going up.
And that
We're
has a
close.
second catch as well, that ADC has a few more for if the plan's open or closed, and if you're contributing to it as well, but things obviously the plan has helped with. So those are the major things I really had to draw your attention to. Obviously, Jamie, Megan have been great to work with. The plant team also assisting in preparation has made the audits go really easy for us, so we've appreciated all the work by the village and plant.
Do you have any other questions or anything specifically?
So the rumors of us going extinct are no longer valid?
No, this audit doesn't speak to that. This audit says it's a snapshot of a picture of where we are today
Okay.
and what we need to fund. We have money to do that, but if you looked at the long term, it's gonna fly out the window really quick. So as of today, if we were to not spend any of the money and not do any projects, sure, we'd be great. And then you'd have a wastewater treatment plant that won't work and departments that, you gotta replace your dishwasher and your things every so often. That's where we're at.
It was said last year, I think Plant Moran said, we don't have a spending problem, we have an earning problem. So we still need to bring in more money. So like the president said, if we were to hit pause on everything, cool, but it's still not gonna do anything in the long run.
So of today, we are in very good standing.
yeah,
Yes,
I-
but
I would
where we're at is we need to plan in looking at that in long term. What we have is not enough.
Yeah, because as we've seen, inflation can run really quickly. Road projects, public works
Yeah.
equipment, fire trucks, all that stuff gets really expensive really quickly. We have some entities that have some huge fund balances, but it's one of those things where, yeah, you have to monitor it. I have a school that went from 15 to 100 in 1 year because of how they use their money, but they're one that I worry, seeing that they're going to spend it down. So it's something to always be paying attention to is, hey, we're not just spending all the money we have because we need to plan for the future.
Right. Okay, hearing no questions, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time as well.
Go ahead and leave it up, I gotta use it for another.
Shoot.
Okay, into our correspondence. I did not have anything officially. I read a letter last month that was asked. We all did receive a couple emails between all of us, but no other correspondence to be read. That brings us to our public comment. Tonight, the elephant in the room, we all do know we have data center discussion on here, and we know that the rhetoric of the community. So now is the time. You get 3 minutes at the podium. We do actually have 2 public comments. So if you don't get your minutes or you get 3 minutes in now and you have more to say at the end of the meeting, stay till the end. You can have 3 more minutes. But let me grab my timer.
Go Dogs.
And what I'll do, just so everybody knows, I'll do a 30-second heads up, so you know you're getting close and to wrap it up. Stop. Okay, you have the floor.
My name is Paul Reno. I'm a resident of Bruce Township. And like most people, I heard about this data center and I thought, I don't have a dog in the fight because I live in Bruce Township. And then I started hearing the details about it and I thought, that's not true. So that prompted some people from my neighborhood to go to the recent Washington Township meeting. And this is a terrible thing. So I made a comment to them that this is an Aaron Brockovich situation, right? And, you know, people like laughed at that. They thought the comment was funny, but it's not funny because I live at 34 in Van Dyke. And, you know, I also said to them that the irony of what they're proposing is that it's going to affect more people in Bruce Township and Romeo than it is in Washington Township. So if you live on Mound Road in $1 million house,
down by 26 Mile or 28 Mile or whatever, you really don't give a crap what's going on over here, but we're talking about power outages, we're talking about water, that they could not verify for me where it's coming from, but most likely being sucked out of the ground. And so I don't want my well to go dry, or my whole neighborhood well to go dry. And they talk about this EMF, like we're gonna hear one hum during the summer and a different hum during the winter. And that can go from what I've read on, it can go anywhere from 5 to 7 miles. So like from where I'm at, I can hear, you know, sometimes in the summer, I can hear the expressway. I can hear the cars on the freeway. So I'm not looking forward to that. So the purpose for me coming here is, when we were at that meeting, there was about a dozen people that got up and they had things to say. Well, I worked for a municipality and I know that the more squeaky wheels there are, the more grease they're gonna apply. We need to pack that and we need to tell them that. I mean, because I think that people don't realize that, like I'm from Bruce Township and I can come to this meeting. You can go to the meeting in Washington Township whether you're a resident or not. And you can get up and you can, this is gonna affect you. This is gonna affect you. And from what I understand, how much? So from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, this water tank in the back, that draws water out of the ground, correct? I mean, I don't know.
Our water
Our
tower?
tower?
Yeah, your tower.
It's for pressure.
Our water tower is fed from our municipal wells.
Yeah, our water.
Right. So if they suck all the water out of the ground, then your water tower is useless. So that, my hope is that this municipality, Bruce Township, I'll talk to Mr. Philbrook, that not only the residents of Romeo, but the township is also going to do something, or the village is going to do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just as a point of note, in general in the village, while I do appreciate the clapping, I ask that we just withhold, as opposed to, if someone comes up with an opposing view, it gives a bit of a uncomfortable feeling. So let's just withhold the clapping and keep moving. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carol Garcia, elected precinct delegate. I'm here to talk about the data center. I have some information. I'm not going to read all this to you, but I advise that you guys look it over, read it 2 or 3 times, because this is from one of the universities. Like Paul was saying, when we went on the 11th to Washington Township, I'm from Bruce Township, the place was packed to the rim, standing room only. I can tell you from experience, people that live in like Memphis, Tennessee, they're going through total hell right now. They had, like Paul was saying, they hear buzzing in the summertime. It's like bzz, bzz, bzz. Wintertime, it's like a car starting, vroom, vroom, vroom. And can you imagine trying to sleep at night and that's what you're hearing 24/7? They say people are getting heart attacks, anxiety, and all kinds of health issues. Not to mention COPD. People are getting asthma. And because these turbines on top of these data centers put out formaldehyde, which causes cancer, and several other toxins. Now, as far as these environmental toxins, this will travel all the way to Oakland County. So none of us are safe, just so you know that. I'm with a big group in the state of Michigan for safe technology. And that goes for cell towers and everything. And this will be an environmental disaster and crime for all 3 townships and surrounding areas. So I'm just going to give you a little information about it. Okay. Okay, this proposed AI data center that they want to build on 32 and M53 would be horrific for Bruce, Romeo, and Washington Township. People have no clue how bad this is. But if you ask the people in Arizona, California, Memphis, Tennessee, and Virginia, they're all suffering, like I said, and they're going through hell right now, from severe environmental health issues to rising high electric water bills from these data centers. I suggest that you guys please Educate yourself on this. This is not a joke, because once it's here, that's it.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay. These data centers put out, let me start over here. I'm getting ahead of myself. In AI states where they have blown past existing polluters. They're emitting over 1,000 to 2,000 tons of noxious gas. Turbines like these release 3 deadly types of pollution: nitrogen oxide, formaldehyde, which causes cancer, and fine particulate matter, airborne soot, which can pass through the lungs and into the bloodstream, causing heart disease, not to mention the electromagnetic pollution and health hazards coming out of these data centers.
I do apologize. Your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, all right. But anyway, you guys have the information there. Please educate yourselves, and don't take this lightly, because this is going to be horrific. And we have to think about future generations and our grandkids, et cetera, not to mention the farmers and the beekeepers, because if we don't have bees, there's no food to pollinate.
Thank you.
Sean Weber, 75508 Romeo Plank Road, Armada. Good evening, Madam President and the Romeo Board. I want to come here tonight because this board must act on 3 action items tonight in order to protect Romeo and protect your town. There are 3 things you must do. You must adopt a 180-day moratorium on all light industrial and industrial IRT rezoning. This will buy you time. You must form a working committee to review your current zoning ordinances and review your master plan and decide how you're going to move forward with this. This committee must be formed immediately after putting a moratorium in place. Third, if your master plan is open right now, or anyone is working on the master plan, you must close it right now. If your master plan is open, you're leaving yourselves open to a developer coming in here and applying for an application. I also want to say this. The day that an application is filed closes the books. What I mean by that is whatever ordinances are on the books at the day of the application is the ordinances that will apply to the applicant. The village may not draft special use after the fact. You got to handle this now. When an applicant is on the doorstep, you're locked in. It's too late. You got to do it now. And aside from that, I also want to say this. In Michigan, there is this thing called exclusionary zoning. It is not lawful for a municipal body to simply draft an ordinance that says data centers are prohibited. You can get sued from that. It will cost your constituents a lot of money. Exclusionary zoning can't do that. You gotta get a working committee together and look at your zoning ordinances. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Sandy Han. I live in Romeo, and I came to the meeting to express concerns over the data center. One of my big concerns is we have 3 or 4 schools that are less than 3 miles from this proposed data center. It's already been proven that that humming and that low buzz sound, when the young kids hear it, they find it very difficult to concentrate and learn. And if you have kids that have some learning issues, it's going to be very, very difficult. So my concern is we have school children so close to this data center. That's number 1. Number 2, I looked it up. I go, okay, what are the guidelines? What are the laws that protect individuals from the data center and its impact? Well, some were put in the book on the previous administration. As of January 2025, there are no restrictions, no laws governing AI centers. So once you get them in, they're in and can do what they want. Also, I looked at the proposal, and it's out there on the Washington Township site. And whether it's right or wrong, they're not, in trying to get this approved, they don't have to do any of the impact studies on the water, the electric, anything like that. How are we to make, or how is any organization made to a decision when you don't have any of the impact studies on it? We can go by what's happening. There's a good story out of Georgia, what has happened to the water and all the other issues they live with. So I just wanted to say there's a lot of us that are totally against us. There's a lot of us and a lot of people we heard from that are going to be leaving Romeo if that gets in. And prices of the houses are going to down. The whole look of the historic village will change drastically if this huge development of 312 acres
30 seconds.
from M53 all the way to Powell Road is impacted by this concrete structure with massive generators that are humming all the time, the lights and everything. So I just wanted to give my opinion and hope that you also, as residents, will do the research. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Marty Hutnick, and I'm here because I strongly oppose the proposed data center rezoning in Washington Township. The bottom line is this: it's not just Washington Township issue, it's directly affecting Romeo, especially downtown Romeo. The village is only about 1.2 miles away, which is around 3 minutes from the proposed site. If this data center is built, it will impact our homes, our businesses, and our schools. There are 2,000 students within a 1.5 mile of the proposed site and 4,500 students within 3 miles. That is a large number of kids who will be forced to live and learn near this harmful facility. And a data center never goes silent. The noise, it creates constant low-frequency noise that will impact our homes and classrooms. This type of noise can disrupt focus, attention, and ultimately impact our kids' learning. Our teachers work hard to build calm, focused classrooms, and this site will undo all of that. This will also affect the youngest children the most, including the programs at Croswell, early learning, the preschool prep, discovery programs, and summer camps. On top of that, this will hurt our village. Homes are already going up for sale, and I know 2 businesses who are planning to move out of downtown Romeo if this happens. That is not what we want for our community. We should not accept a project that lowers home values and pushes away businesses from a place that we've all worked so hard to build. So along with Washington Township, I think we need to attend that meeting. We need to voice our concerns, and we just need to jump on board and tell them this is not what we need, okay? The meeting is in February. I don't have the date. I just heard it was changed. Is it the 4th? Okay. At the township at 6:30. Once our kids are affected and our community is changed, there's no going back. And I was going to actually repeat some of the things that Sean said, but he's already said it, as far as we need to jump on board now and change the ordinances before an application is applied. Otherwise, we're done, And as far as the Aaron Brockovich movie, I know it sounds funny, but you know what? After he said that at the last meeting, I went home and I watched it, and I finished it last night. It's pretty, I seen it years ago. Watch it again. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Sharon Smith, 377 North Main. Speaking of trees, I wanted to thank Joe Young for coming down and presenting for us. One of the things that we're looking at, as he mentioned, is removing a lot of old trees, but we need to think about replacing as well. We need that canopy. If we don't start kind of going with our tree board's mantra, remove and replace, there are species of trees that we can put in easements. It's a myth to think that any tree in an easement is going to damage infrastructure. It's just not going to be. So I'm hoping that that's something that we can work on together. As far as the data center, I'm glad that you're being proactive in coming together and hopefully making a voice against the data center, letting Washington Township know where we stand as a village, and hoping it's against it. One of the things that I won't reiterate what's already been said, because but it's all true. One of the things I didn't hear is one of the things that people in Memphis, people in Northern Virginia are experiencing are rolling brownouts. They're replacing refrigerators, furnaces, central air, things like that. An alarming rate, like every other year. I've done so much research and reading, trying to find the pros and the cons, and all I'm finding is cons. So I'm really hoping that we can be a strong voice in making an impact with Washington Township. Lastly, the Rotary, last year we did a meal packing event with the Kids Coalition Against Hunger. We are having another one this year on April 11th. I'll give copies that you can pass down if you'd like. I just wanted to put a little stack of papers up, or flyers up at the thingy there, if it's all right. We're hoping that we can get lots of people coming and helping with it. It's actually a fun event. There's a code there you can scan and read more information about the Kids Coalition. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mark, and I'm from Bruce Township as well. I'm thinking about the data center. I really don't believe it's a good idea to put in that position. You have to think about all the apple orchards. We have the Peach Festival. Well, what about the bees? What about the pollinators? I mean, what is this noise going to do to all these little animals or insects? And another thing, we're talking about a movie to look at. A simple movie to look at is a Lorax by Dr. Seuss. It's a simple movie to watch, and it tells you what's going to happen when you're going to put that data center there. And that's all I got to say. I'm totally against it. Thank you.
Do we have any more public comment?
I just want to say something without having to get up. Does Candace
Well-
Miller have a part in this at all?
This is public comment, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Corinne Graper. I live in Washington Township, 31 mile actually, so I go to Romeo more than I go to Washington for all of my services. I started up the residents group against the data center in Washington Township, so we've learned a lot. Sean, myself, Marty, Danielle, we have spent probably 100 hours educating ourselves all December, our whole Christmas time, trying to catch up to this, right? Understand what it is, what it means, the zoning ordinances, and what I would appeal to you all is to act now, as Sean said. Don't be in the position we were in. We had 2 days notice and we're running, right? These data centers, when they come in, they try to push these through in a week's time. You can see that in Lyon Township that happened. You can see it in Farmington Hills that happened. They try to move very fast. We got lucky because our planning commission tabled it. They have now since delayed it twice. We got lucky with that. You might not be that lucky, right? And so you need to put the ordinances in place now. You can't just say, as Sean said, I don't want a data center. You have to say, we don't want lighting over this amount or noise over this amount. You have to get really specific so that they don't, you zone them in a way that they can't operate here very well, right? They might have a 10-acre plot of land that they could actually build on, and they're not going to want to do that because they want hyperscaled, right? So that's what you need to be planning and thinking for right now. Don't put yourself in our position. It's not fun. Another thing I wanted to bring up, Look up Data Center Alley in Virginia. Once one data center comes in and builds the electrical and water infrastructure, it attracts more. And so you can see if you all look at Data Center Alley in Virginia, there are rows and rows and rows. So this means that Bruce, Ray, Armada, Romeo, you're all vulnerable to having your own data centers in addition to the one in Washington Township. You can think of the impacts then, the cumulative impacts to water and electricity and air pollution that can happen to our community. This is a place people want to live, right? And we want to be able to continue to live here. So I ask you to show up to the Washington Township meetings, speak leader to them. Their decisions do affect you. They affect all of your residents. And you can think about, I imagine sitting out at the office pub in summer, and all of a sudden, and all you hear is, the whole time. You all are going to be impacted more than downtown Washington is, right? They're going to get the tax dollars, and you're going to get a downtown that is vacant and that people don't want to come to because of the constant humming and air pollution that's possible. So just implore you to please take action and speak with Washington Township, let them know your thoughts, and prepare your own ordinances so this can't happen to you. Thank you.
Thank you. More public comment? Going once? Okay.
I just want to say that because what comes, she said after we could talk.
After, at the end of the
Well,
meeting, there's.
Okay, I just have a
We
few
do-
things to say.
Public comment, technically, Open Meetings Act, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, they do have amount of time to speak.
You can set a reasonable
We can, yeah. So we will give 3 more minutes, and then,
Okay, it's not even going to be 3 minutes. I just want to say what comes out of these turbines on top of these data centers is so toxic. It's PFAS. If you know what PFAS is, it's forever chemicals. That goes into the water, and that goes into the ground, the dirt. And I've talked to farmers in the area. They don't want it because a lot of the farmers do not use GMOs in their eggs or feed their cows or any of that. Matter of fact, when they did put GMOs before from the corn, it killed a lot of the cows. So they don't use any of that. And when you're putting that into the dirt, you're going to kill the cows and everything else. We won't have a food supply. And farmers are going to end up moving out of here. We're all going to move out of here. We're going to be like Flint, Michigan. It'll turn into a ghost town. We have a beautiful, beautiful townships between all 3. Why would we want to destroy it by getting these data centers in? All they care about is the money, blood money. This is demonic. It's not what you think it is. And that's why I said, most people in here have done their homework. I've done mine. I stay up to 2 in the morning trying to get more information. And this is from the experts in the field. And I love it out here. That's why I moved out here, to be in a peaceful environment and be close to the farms. I get a lot of my stuff from the farms, fresh eggs and meats. We don't want that to be destroyed by all these toxic environmental toxins that'll taint the water and the ground. Thank you.
thank you. Do you have any new public comment? Again, there is another public comment at the end of the meeting if you would like to stay. Hearing none, let us move into our officer reports. Let's start with our trustees. Trustee Bartholomew,
Nothing at this time?
Trustee Edwards,
No, nothing at this time.
Trustee Rosso.
We had an ethics committee meeting, that went really well, and the tree board is planning an Arbor Day celebration, so keep an eye out for that information.
Trustee Parker.
At the planning commission, we went back over the proposed short-term rental that came back from council, chopped it up a little bit, and sent it back to the planner to type up a draft for review this coming month.
A review by the Planning Commission.
Yes, yeah, we didn't finalize anything yet,
Do you have anything for trustee report?
negative.
Trustee Kare?
Yeah, really quick, I donated my January meeting pay to Love Team Tessa to support childhood cancer research. As Trustee Rosso said, we met with ethics. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. I started the MIC Asset Management course. I have another class next week, and I look forward to talking to some other local people that I saw in the class about that. Wednesday, 7 p.m. in the West Meeting Room, we have our first downtown parking committee meeting. Feel free to join that. And that's it.
Trustee Fowler,
Nothing at this time.
do you want to Clerk Lucero or Chief? Who?
Maybe they can go real quick and then set him up. I really don't have really anything to talk about. It was very slow with the last few weeks being holidays and with the RFPs. So really, anything in my reports are actually before you guys now, and we'll talk about those when we get to them. Other than that, I just want to thank DPW for being out there working the long hours. They were out in front of our building a lot. Every time they shoveled, it seemed like when they were done, they had to shovel it again. So thank you guys for, busting your butts and being out in the cold weather. And other than that, we started really doing a deep dive upstairs with all of the blueprints and getting them logged in. And we're trying to figure out a GIS portal where we can upload all the documents so we can finally get those out of there. But it is a monumental task that I'm going to take a lead from Chief, as you guys will see here soon, and I'll take pictures so you guys can see what we're doing. But yeah, that's it for village business from me.
Thank you. I was trying to pull up my report. I didn't have the opportunity to print it, but I did have it here, and it's blank. One thing to know, if you want to go ahead and get Chief all set up and everything while I speak for a minute, one thing I did want to note, a grant opportunity that did come our way, wholly benefiting us with no cost to us. I was trying to get you guys the details of it, so I will speak from what I remember. Macomb County applied for a grant with the state. The Labor Economic, the LEO group is how I know it. They were one of 10 communities that did receive this grant. With this grant, they are given a fellow or an intern for 18 months to help assist the county in any way the county specifically would like to appoint the person. The county has chosen to appoint this person in general to the village of Romeo, specifically due to the closure of the Ford plant to help us in any of the losses in the redevelopment of any ideas and anything we could do with that. So for the next year and a half, we will be receiving most of the time of this intern. There was a match grant of, I believe it was it's $10,000 or $20,000, of which the county did also generously cover that. So it also comes at no cost to us. So we will be having an intern, i.e. another employee in the village. So if you see Stefan, that is who we have. I do have a few things in mind that will help move the needle in the way of all of the many things that the village needs to do. It might not necessarily specifically be something to do with the property that, it's not our property. There's only so much we can do with that. But here at the village, we can prepare ourselves better for the weights that we have, lift those a bit so then when a user and a buyer does come in, we are better prepared and don't have as much business to cover. So with that, Kevin.
Evening, everybody. I'm not here to talk about data centers. Wow. I'll be as quick as I can. The update on the accreditation process. As many of you know, we've been working on this for a couple of months now, and we're in the final stages of the property room reinvention. There's a couple photographs behind you of before and after. That's been a huge wait. That was the first step of the accreditation process, was the biggest one. And we're nearly complete with that. I want to give a thanks again to Officer Rick Soulier, Officer Patrick Bauer, as they did most of the work on this. And give also a little shout out to Gail Kaczynski. She's our RASO group representative that's been assigned to us to guide us through this process. That, coupled with all the old electronics that were in our basement that apparently have been down there for a couple of decades, amounted to 850 pounds worth of property that we're able to legally and properly dispose of. In my last conversation with Gail Kaczynski, she
reports that we are actually well ahead of schedule for the final stamp of approval on accreditation. I think I'll let you know that that was up to 2 years, and we're well ahead of that. As all you know, I've been working on a pretty convoluted FEMA grant for about 1.5 years. Never want to do one again. But that is for the replacement of the police departments and the village offices' 33-year-old and end-of-life generator. We got the good news this week, last week actually, that we received from FEMA $73,000 towards that project. I believe what you'll see in your packets is 3 bids. Yes, those are still in there. I supplied those bids prior to getting the contract from FEMA for discussion tonight, but I've since received that contract from FEMA, and it appears in the contract that the granted funds are specifically designated for the Michigan Caterpillar bid that's in there. So it doesn't sound like we have a choice. This is also good news because though I'm not a subject matter expert in any way, shape, or form on the machinery and what our kilowatt needs are for the police department in the village, but our DPW director is. And I sat down with him, we went over all these bids, and he suggested that this Michigan Caterpillar bid is the proper one for us moving forward. So, as stated, sounds like FEMA identified that as well. When approved, I can move forward with the ordering and planning phase as soon as you guys authorize that. I was advised last week by Kat that we're looking at about a 6-month turnaround as of right now if we get on it, which would put us at about midsummer. A lot of people here tonight. I don't know how many are from Romeo, but for those of you who are, this is good, because I actually kind of wanted to have a conversation with you and some of the people that might have been tuned in tonight on TV. We've been having a recurring winter ordinance violation issues in the village of Romeo. I want to remind everyone here and watching on TV that if you're a homeowner or a business operator in the village, you are obligated to remove the snow and ice from your portion of the sidewalk. In addition, it's illegal to blow your snow from your property out into the road. Think about it for a second, folks. The staff that we just hailed tonight, our DPW staff, out in snowstorms, any storms, oftentimes after hours, on holidays, on weekends, clearing the streets for your convenience, and it's just selfish and rude to push all that snow back into the road that they just cleared for you.
And unsafe.
And unsafe. And I'll remind you that it's also illegal. It's against the motor vehicle code to do that. So let me be clear to the residents that are in here. We at the police department don't want to take enforcement action. I'll say it again, we do not want to do that. But we will if we have to, because this seems to be a problem that's gotten kind of out of control. I spoke with Tim Metz over the weekend when we had the most recent storm, and they saw a lot of issues with it, with residents pushing their snow back out into the street after they just cleared it. Any questions thus far?
No, I was going to say, if I could piggyback off that, your last comment there a bit. I've had a couple phone calls, and I do understand. When a snowplow comes down the road, we all understand the snow must go somewhere, right? So it goes to the side, whether that's up onto the easement, maybe from there it goes onto your sidewalk. Unfortunately, I do not know when you shovel your sidewalk, so maybe you've already shoveled it and we throw the snow back onto it, and I do apologize. The only other option we have at that point is if you'd like to write down your address, we can go around and not plow in front of yours, but now you don't have that portion of your street plowed. I also do understand, sorry if I feel heated, like this is we've been going back and forth about this.
It's been an issue.
That when the snow plow comes down, a lot of it gets shoved into the end of your driveway. If anyone knows where I live on an alley. I don't have a driveway and I don't have a curb. So of anybody, I truly understand what it is to have all of that snow shoved right into your one parking space. And the DPW does not come out and shovel my driveway out. I do. So I do understand. and I am empathetic. If you truly, truly do have a hard time, we will assist you. I personally have gone out and shoveled people who are sick, who are homebound. I've shoveled their sidewalks for them, because the point here is not that we want to give you a citation. I could slap a citation down on a homebound person, and that solves nothing for anybody. What we want to do is keep our sidewalks safe. Number one, our mail carriers. We are historic in the way that we have mail carriers that walk the village. I find that really cool. Number two, we have a school just down the street that if your child lives in the village, they walk. There is no bus opportunity. Maybe you don't have the opportunity to even drive them, so they must walk. Keeping it safe for our children. And number three, all of us, we still go out, we walk our dogs, we walk the village. Some crazy people, I see them out there running. That's not for me. But you should not have to take your life in your own hands just because you want to go for a walk in the winter. So if we could please pay better attention. If you do need help, I'm honest, reach out. I've had a few people come in and say that they would volunteer. Let us know what the address is if you truly need help. Thank you.
Ditto. Any other questions before I finish up? No? Okay. Finally, I want to mention, and frankly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that this week starts contract negotiations between the village and the police department staff. And you all know how I feel on this topic. The staff that works in the village every day knows how I feel, probably ad nauseum. I gave you a presentation about a year ago, and I gave you evidence of how far behind the Romeo officers and the dispatchers are relative to their colleagues in this area. This week, actually, back up. When I gave that presentation that night, each of you that were present in the room agreed that this was not acceptable. In fact, one of you, after I told some of the stories, said it made me want to cry. I agree. This week you get a chance to start fixing this problem that I understand, frankly, is a village-wide problem, but I can't speak to that. I can only speak to relative to my staff. This was a problem created by village governments of the past. None of you need to be held responsible for the sins of your predecessors. But we're here now, and you have the opportunity to do it differently than they did and make things right. And I, for one, I'm counting on you.
And and I love all of our departments and our unions, but I'm not looking forward to the negotiations. We'll make the best of it. Okay, our subcommittee, Bruce Sewer,
Nothing.
Nothing.
and Shelley did touch on our ethics committee, did meet. We thought we were pretty close to being done, and then after really getting into the nitty-gritty, found we needed a little more time. So we're gonna try, there was a few points to revise on our own between us, and we're gonna get it to Mr. Clark. Our hope was to possibly the February, but I think our intention is for sure by March to get a draft here at the table for everybody to see. Is that correct? Am I remembering? Okay, moving on to our new business. We're starting off with our audit report. Did we have any further discussion or questions now that you've sat here for a little bit? No? Okay, do we have a motion to approve and accept our 2025 audit report?
I'll make a motion to approve and ratify the 2025 audit report.
Okay, we have a
As
motion by
presented.
Edwards. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a support by Kare. Once again, I ask, do we have any further comments? Hearing none. Clerk Lucero, could you please call the roll?
Parker.
Yes.
Kare.
Yes.
Rosso.
Yes.
Fowler. Bartholomew.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. Okay, moving to our second item of new business, our CDBG funds. What we have here is, I did just ask Clerk Lucero to draw up the resolution. I asked, basically, he divided it up like last year. I do recall our discussion, though, that at that meeting, we ended up reorganizing it. So I just wanted us to have a basic idea. We do have to, by law, give $500 to chore. So right off the top, we have $2,500, $500 does have to go there, and then we have $2,000 to disperse. So what here in this resolution is not bound, but it is a suggestion, a starting point for this council. Do we have discussion?
Was this the amount that we got last year?
Yes.
Has it increased at all in the last number of years?
I feel like in my 10, 12 years, it's continued to decrease.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. You wish you could give everyone $1 million,
I know.
right? So it stinks. You're kind of dividing pennies to people that need a lot more than that.
Well, it did two things. It decreased, and also the village used to have a fund set aside to add in additional funds. But that hasn't been for, I think, a decade when I looked back.
Yeah, it'd be nice to maybe start that again.
Do we want to accept the suggestions, or do we have anybody that would like to make others?
Well, when I look at the suggested list versus the 3 organizations that came, Turning Point was suggested 200 and they asked for 500. Interfaith came and asked for 360. We had 100. And Samaritan House asked for 1,000. And we had 700. They're all very worthy causes. I appreciate all the groups that can come out or cannot come out, depending on their needs. I just feel like perhaps we adjusted a little bit so the groups that were able to come receive a little bit closer to what they're asking for.
I would agree with you.
Any suggestions?
It does, just doing quick math, if we were to give the 500 to chore that were required, if we were to give the 3 that are requested, that brings us to $2,360, which leaves us just a little, what would we like to do with the rest?
What does it leave us for Care House?
Hold on.
2?
I can't do math and hear that fast. That leaves $140. So how would you like to disperse the $140? There's Care House and McCrest.
Split it 50-50?
Works for me, 70 apiece. If my math is mathing correctly at this moment. Let's do it, 1 second. I do get 2,500. So to wrap it up, we have chore for 500, McCrest at 70, Samaritan House at 1,000, Care House at 70, Interfaith at 360, and Turning Point at 500, which brings us to our $2,500. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept.
Support.
I have a motion by Rousseau, support by Parker. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution as presented? Aye.
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 Do we have any opposed? There are none opposed. Thank you all for coming. Do not take that information and come back next year and ask for $1,000. I don't have it. Thank you. And thank you for what you do for our community. It truly
Yes, thank
does
you all.
matter.
Yes, and it's not rude if you leave.
No.
You do not have to sit through this.
Moving into our first item of data center. Trustee Kare did reach out to me and request an item. I let him know that I already had an intention of putting the item on the agenda. We thought they could both live in the same world. At the end of the day, I decided to separate them because I felt that our discussion needed to be solely, it's not wrapped up just in the resolution that is proposed. Where Nolan is, we did speak on the telephone, so please, if I overspeak or misspeak for you. But the intention there with that resolution is for the village and this board to take a stance on its consideration of the one happening in Washington Township. Whereas my consideration of the item is much more selfish, and it has to do with the village. So I thought it would be best to separate them. I did put on our cover sheet, just so that we all had an understanding. I didn't want to just put data center discussion, because I did not in any way want to mislead anybody that we would just be discussing this tonight. I wanted there to be potential should we discuss and have action. So it's just a simple title of the data center. My intention with this item, which can change as the board, this is our meeting and everybody's open to discussing, but my intention on putting this here was for us to review our current industrial district zoning ordinance, which I did include print for the council here. I wanted our board to have discussion on this item. It is quite a, I would say hot item, but a very, I would say emotionally charged. It matters to us. I will say when this item first came across my desk, first started hearing about it in Washington Township, I lacked a lot of education in that area. So I did take the time to educate myself. I don't think I'm 100 hours educated per the group, but I think I grasp the situation more. However, as a elected official, truly grasped the situation of, I don't think it's wanted. I think that's clear. So I grasp that part. And then lastly, the point was with the potential to initiate action regarding authority and standards. So I did just, like I said, I threw our zoning ordinance in here. I did put 2 articles, just 2 that I had myself read. They do have a lot of, they are cited from very well-known places. The one is from Michigan University. Then there was an interesting article that I had just found that happened this December 18th, where the Michigan, what is it? No, but what is the Michigan Public Service Commission? There it is. Approved the DTE electric energy contracts for data center with conditions to strengthen protections for other customers. So it does seem that somewhere somebody is trying to put on some conditions and look out for us. Personally, I can tell you, other than articles, speaking with a couple different residents, it is winter, it is cold. I don't get to get out there as much to speak with people, but I did happen at a couple Christmas parties. You know, you can't go anywhere and not have someone sit down and say, hey, so tell me what's going on over here. And I did learn a lot from the conversations. Again, that it's not wanted. It led me into more questions of why, how, prove it. So one of the things that I did do is, we all know Saline Township just received a data center, not by want, but by consent judgment. I reached out to the Saline mayor, the city of Saline, and I specifically did the city because they stand in a similar situation to that the village does, that it's in the township that sits right next to them, yet it's going to affect them also. They have a little bit different map, whereas Mayor Marl was explaining to me their data center from the city is about 7 miles away from them, whereas in explaining it to him and speaking, ours is literally a stone's throw across the road. I asked him, again, there's no point in reinventing the wheel in life if somebody else has already gone through it. Learn the wisdom, learn from their mistakes, what they wish they would have done or what they could have done. One thing that Mayor Marl did do is he wrote a letter to the Public Service Commission. I then asked him for that letter so that I might write one too. So if the board should so choose, if you don't mind a few minutes of me reading it to let you know what it does say. Obviously, I wouldn't completely plagiarize, but I mean, it might be close. If the board would like also to take a stance in writing our Public Service Commission. he did write that his office is writing today to offer some thoughts and perspectives pertaining to the forthcoming data center in Saline Township. While my office has no formal jurisdiction over this project, I am keenly aware that the open AI development will have a profound impact on our community and the broader region. By any objective measure, there are many positive and appealing aspects to this proposal. My colleagues in Saline Township have negotiated in good faith with this developer, and their recently approved consent judgment with the Washtenaw County Courts has yielded significant safeguards for township residents. Specifically, they have worked to protect water resources and have ensured remediation of the development site if the project were to be decommissioned. It is my understanding the existing statutes prevent this project from adversely impacting electric utility rates for existing residents or business owners. I certainly hope this is the case. I was also informed the proposed state-of-the-art data center will not place undue pressure on the existing electrical grid. I trust that this point will be confirmed during your evaluations and due diligence. I must add, representatives from DTE Energy and related data center have communicated proactively with regional stakeholders during this process. Their accessibility has been noticed, and it is very much appreciated. So in a similar fashion, again, I could write a letter to the Public Service Commission on behalf of the village. I did not feel that without discussion with the council, just taking that move as the president on behalf and as the representative was appropriate, so I wanted to see what council would like. I have, unfortunately, just today, finally, I've been trying to get a municipal contact at DTE to start raising concerns to see what they have to say. So I'm waiting to hear back. Again, I didn't get that phone number until today. When it comes to water, there is a difference in the village between wells and Great Lakes over in the industrial. So assuming it's Great Lakes water, that will still affect some of us. If it's land water, well water, it could, again, still affect us. So I feel that either way, should water issues arise, it's going to affect a portion of our village no matter what. With that, I open it up to the board for discussion. Please remember this is a board discussion and not for public comment to interject. You have the floor.
Well, for having you go ahead and put your name on that letter, all for that. As far as the water, the only thing they did say at the one meeting I went to back in December was that most of the data centers now are open loop systems. In other words, they just keep dragging the water out, and using new fresh water every time. They supposedly have a closed loop systems now, whatever that means. I'm more concerned about the PFAS and things of that nature.
Well, especially
that get out into the.
There's Al here. No, I'd say specifically with PFAS in our wastewater treatment plant. I mean, in Eagle and the standards that are constantly changing, that's something that might be coming down the line and more restrictive, which will then again cost.
Well, they
us.
should be, because the whole west side of the state, where the Hush Puppies factory used to be, Rockford, I think, is just destroyed. I mean, they've got a lot of, people can't even use their wells. They just poison themselves by using their wells. So the Rockford area where the Hush Puppies factory is a disaster. So I am not for this by any stretch of the imagination. And should we instruct the planning commission to take another, or re-update these ordinances? Because they're not, there's nothing that in there that, of course, would even mention this.
Right, and that is part of why I have the ordinance in here.
Yep.
Things that are permitted, according to our current ordinance, are automobile manufacturing, assembly operations. I will not read every single sentence. Warehousing, wholesale, compounding, processing, packaging, the manufacture, compounding, assembly of merchandise, manufacture of pottery, figurines, similar ceramics, manufacture of musical instruments, toys, novelties, rubber or metal or rubber stamps, molded products, manufacturing or assembling of electrical appliance, electronic instruments and devices, laboratories, experimental, film or testing, manufacture and repair of electric or neon signs, light sheet metal products, including heating and ventilating equipment, cabinet and home remodeling showrooms and workshops, building and landscaping contractors' offices, printing, publishing, and photographic processing, commercial radio, television, other transmitting or relay towers or monopoles, public utility buildings and service facilities, other light industrial uses of a similar character, and no more objectionable in character to those uses identified in this section. That kind of leaves us a bit open-ended.
Yeah, we also still do have lighting and noise standards as well.
We do, but look at those.
Yeah.
Try
to pull them up.
Exclusion zoning?
Pardon me?
I said the gentleman mentioned that exclusion zoning.
Sean?
To make sure it included that?
Well, you can't exclusionary zone. I mean, you can't just say we hate data centers and we don't want that. So if the intent is to try to maybe avoid that use, you have to write it in a way that kind of excludes them and similar zoning, but you can't specifically just say we don't like data centers and we don't want that.
So you basically have to work around and still say, no, I don't want you here.
Right. Yeah.
It was similar to our marijuana ordinance where we did not give a limit of how many establishments could be here. Rather, we said they needed to be 750 feet apart. So it took care of itself in that they had to be a distance from one another. So at some point, it will be saturated and there could be no more. So you just
There
have
may
to.
also be some other examples out there already in the state of Michigan.
Right. I just wanted us to see from this ordinance, and I mean, if you look at it, back in 2000, I believe is when the most recent update. Yes, July of 2000. I don't believe when this was done that this sort of thing existed. It wasn't something that was
No,
thought
there
of. I believe that's part of where this letter O, other light industrial uses of a similar character, no more objection, this open-ended phrase kind of captures. Does that necessarily intend for a data center? I guess you'd have to interpret that sentence. So I wanted us to look at this. I did ask Mark, give him a little bit of a heads up that we would be asking what our options would be. What can we do? I don't know, Mark, you want to, we only have a couple options, but if you wanted to expound on them.
First of all, I agree with the gentleman that spoke. You cannot enact an exclusionary zoning ordinance. That's been litigated. I don't know that it's been litigated with data centers, but it has been with mobile home parks, where communities zoned mobile home parks, or their zoning prevented the establishment of mobile home parks in the community. And so you cannot exclude them. You also, in that vein, I don't believe that you could, well, I shouldn't say that you could. You can do this.
Turn your mic on, Mark.
Oh, darn it. The question is, or a question is, if you're so narrow in scope that the practical and actual result is exclusionary, you're probably going to have some difficulty adopting an ordinance that would reflect that or implement that. And I don't mean to be silly about it, but let's say you said data centers, they go on a lot that the minimum lot size in residential zoning, which I think is 60 or 60 feet wide and 140 feet long. Well, you're not going to be able to build a data center, well, at least not economically build a data center. So you have to, you can do things about lighting, about minimum spatial requirements, screening, noise was mentioned, lighting was mentioned. You can do things like that. You can consider those things in terms of managing how your community develops. One of the things that I think is a blessing, but maybe not so much, I don't know, I think it is a lot of Romeo, and I realize there's been some annexation of property, but a lot of Romeo is already built out. The residential is fairly well set, commercial fairly well defined, and so now you're looking at something that is new, at least for us, it's these data centers, so you have to deal with them, and you can do it both with consideration of there's not much we can do in other areas, the residential, the commercial, so now you try to formulate something that is not exclusionary, but would protect what you already have in place. Your identified residential zoning area, your identified commercial zoning area. The industrial area, much of it in terms of smaller shops is built out. There's still some room to develop, and the portion of Armada Township that was annexed, there's an ability to expand there. So you have some tools or some consideration, but you can't exclude it. So we look at one end, you can't exclude it. And I don't believe, or at least I wouldn't recommend, that you go down a rabbit hole that you will craft something that's so tight, so narrow, that it will be considered or treated as exclusionary zoning.
And then we did speak of other options of moratorium.
You can, if you're considering a moratorium, my recommendation would be that you do it in increments. For instance, and again, I don't mean to be glib about this, I don't recommend that you adopt a 10-year moratorium. I think that's going to be problematic. There's nothing magical about the period of time. The question, if it's litigated, would be, is it reasonable? I think 6 months is not unreasonable. I also think with the stated purpose, while you look at the circumstances, while you look at your zoning ordinances, while you look at your infrastructure, the ability to accommodate it, the moratorium has to be, well, at least my recommendation is that the moratorium be something that is useful. It's not a short-term way of saying no. We're saying no until we have more information, or we're not saying yes until we have more information. And so you can adopt a moratorium. My suggestion would be, if you choose to do that, that you have a purpose for that and do it for a reasonable period of time. My suggestion would be 6 months, but if you say 4 months or 8 months, again, there's nothing really magical about that number. It just has to be reasonable, and there has to be a purpose to it.
So Mark, I was researching the city of Saline. Obviously, aside from the letter they sent, they approved a resolution to 12 months temporarily on the approval specifically of data centers. Now, I mean, is that considered exclusionary where we're specifically mentioning them by name? Would it be better just to blanketly say industrial zoning? Or do you think specifically mentioning data centers is an issue?
I don't think it's an issue. I think you can specifically state it's a data center, which is why I recommend that you don't just say a 6-month or a 1-year moratorium for data centers or data centers, however it's supposed to be pronounced. There should be a purpose to it while we explore, as a community or while as a board of trustees, we explore the impact of data centers, whether there's infrastructure to support it, to have a reason for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with naming it, that particular function, but I would have a purpose for it. And the other part of your question, we're putting a moratorium on industrial development. I'm not a planner, but I don't think that sends a generally good message to other industrial uses that might want to come to the village and locate in the industrially zoned portion of the village. So I wouldn't sweep that broadly. I think you're better off, you can identify the subject matter and the purpose and the time and I think that's defensible.
Thank you.
I've also taken time, spoken with Mr. Hagelstein. If you don't know, he is a planning commission member over in Bruce Township. Bruce Township has put a pause, similarly taking or giving their planning commission directives to look into, to craft, to research. Mr. Hagelstein has said that they would be willing to share, should that be approved by their commission and their board. Again, no point in doing double work, recreating the wheel, if we both have a similar intention and the work is being done. He said, we'll give it to you if you just even wanted to readopt the exact same thing. But we have friends and our neighbors there.
Nice. I mean, I think the precautionary action at a minimum should be to place a moratorium on data centers. I mean, now that we've vocally identified that we have no real language surrounding the structure that may or may not include it, it's just irresponsible to allow that type of door to be open. I also, kind of in the essence of time, you know, if we go 180 days or 1 year, I think it would be a little bit more appropriate maybe to task a subcommittee to review the industrial district zoning, hopefully including, you know, ex-officio from planning, just to be more effective. I don't think there's any issue with planning commission reviewing ordinances and doing a good job of that. I just think at a board level, it'd be nice to meet a little more frequently and, you know, have more input outside of an actual meeting itself.
Well, maybe the committee should involve both the council and the planning commission.
It'd be a task force at that point, right?
Well, whatever you want to call it.
We can always add that on to the planning
Can you pull up rules
meeting.
of procedure, please? Pull up rules of procedure.
Yeah, we could add a topic onto every month's planning meeting if we had to.
Yeah.
And be joined by council.
Yeah, I just think typically in a subcommittee setting, a lot more business is done as opposed to, you know, at the table at a standard, regular meeting. I think that'd be more than
They're
appropriate.
still open to the public.
Correct.
Last page, the special committee or task force.
Be a special committee, right?
That's what I'm asking. I'm like, I
If-
want
if
the
you're
exact
involving
definition.
People outside the community, it would have to be a special.
Or is that a task force?
It's
If
towards
the
like,
one-
it's like the
Task
second
force
or
is
the last
residents.
page.
Okay.
Well, like we have at the DDA.
I don't necessarily disagree with the importance of it and council working with planning, but I almost feel like in other scenarios or other issues that we have, we put a lot more stock in planning than we are right now. And I'm wondering if that's a reactionary kind of thing where we're kind of taking planning's purpose a little bit away from them. I don't know.
Right.
You could speak to that better, but they're the experts in planning. I'd kind of like to see them.
Right, but to me, and to your point, I don't want to exclude them in their opinion in any way, but planning commission is an interpretive board, and that's kind of it. You know, they have the existing ordinance that we have. They're free to interpret it, but that's the law. They're not free to interject their opinion into the decisions that they might have. So, you know, while they might be well-versed in it, and obviously all of their input is welcome, I think it'd be nice to have members of this board on that committee as well to work with the ordinance.
So when we're creating things like fence ordinances and those things, does that start with planning, Mr. Parker, or does that start here with council?
Can start either, technically, but, and typically the stuff like that would go to planning, and then their recommendation would come back before council. It's kind of what they're in place for.
Which I don't wholly disagree with, but to Nolan's point in the expediation of it, we've had a couple times where we have asked planning commission, hey, can you look at this or can you create this? And they bring it back to us and we go, actually, never mind, we don't like that. We wish it would have said this. And so then we're sending it back to them again. So I do see where a little bit of cross would be helpful. Yeah,
I mean, sometimes a decision going, you know, with the way meeting dates sometimes align, sometimes one small choice can take 2 months to take place because it goes for our meeting, we make an opinion on it, it goes back to planning, then it has to go back to the planner, and then it goes back to planning, then it comes back to us. So it's just in the essence of time. That's the only reason I mention it.
So if I'm grasping your suggestion, it would be to have a special committee to look into, to create, but then still hand it off to the planning commission from there?
Yeah. To work on the ordinance and once that special committee provides the recommendations they have, this board can vote to send it to planning commission. They can have their view on it, send it to the planner, whatever we can do at that
You're
point.
superseding planning, and you might as well just send it right to the planner to draft and bring it back to council, right?
Well, that's why I want the planning and the
We've had
committee.
similar discussions about special land use, Megan, and you've said we're not gonna take that away from planning, because it's something that they do, right? So if we're gonna supersede planning, why are we even gonna bother?
So then let the subcommittee report to planning commission at each month. At least then, before it goes to this board, planning commission decides that it's going to go to this board. But it can still be a special committee of members from both entities. That way we don't step over the necessary step to involve planning.
I think it's just another step to slow it down at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the opposite, but that's fine.
Do we have a time frame for moratorium? Let's take a break from that topic.
Well, we can always extend it, so I mean, if we wanted to start with 180 days, and as long as we're making solid, good progress, if we deem necessary to extend it, we'll extend it. But sometimes putting a year on it means we're not gonna meet until March or April, and then things don't happen as fast.
Okay, so we at least have that part down. The specific task, whether it's planning or this committee, would be to what?
Refine and update the industrial district zoning ordinance, what do we say it was? The year 2000, it was last combed over anyway.
Correct, 26 years ago.
So, I mean, it's necessary anyway, but just to review the applicable zoning ordinance and.
Specifically only industrial.
Yep.
Can I ask, Sean, do you have any examples of what you were talking about?
Examples of what, sir?
Of the new, ordinances and things like that, zoning ordinance? You said you gave us suggestions to, update the zoning ordinance to be able to eliminate data centers. Do you have any examples of this out there already?
Off the top of my head, I think the two best options are to put an energy limit on the facility, so you can say a certain number of kilowatts or watt hours per square foot. You can also put a usage on water usage per square foot as well, limited to gallons.
Okay.
I would suggest talking to Rick Rigglestein from Bruce, because he does have case studies that he's using to build their ordinances.
Right.
And he offered help as well, so that would be a resource.
Okay, well, you already got that taken care of.
Yeah, but it's there for us, and, okay, so if the intention of whoever this is to review our industrial zoning and ordinance specifically, let's put it toward, because that's very broad, let's put it towards the, item of data center. Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Okay, so specifically concerning,
Updating the ordinance to include parameters.
concerning, I like that,
For potential
parameters.
data centers.
Or similar uses, yeah, I think that's great.
I'm gonna mark on that, to go specific to data centers. Would we shy away from that, or would we build ordinances to encompass?
Well, I think the
I
ordinance
think
is.
you can refer to data centers.
Okay.
Again, there has to be, the moratorium has to be reasonable, and there has to be a purpose. And so if your purpose is to study the effect of data centers, their impact on infrastructure, on water, what do they do with their water, does it go down our sewers? The industrial area in the village gets Detroit water. It's unlikely, that comes out of Lake Huron. Who knows what's gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna affect or touch the village's aquifer for the water it pulls out of the ground for the residential area of the village. It could, but you could study that as part of it. And then what are they gonna do with the water? You know, it used to be, and I realize we're talking about different things, but your self-serve car washes, all that water used to just go into the storm sewer. Well, now they figured, well, one, that's not good because of the chemicals, and secondly, wow, if we recycle this water, our water bill goes down. So you're gonna wanna know, I think anyway, what happens to the water. Let's say their supply of water is unlimited. I mean, the Great Lakes water people, they might be frothing at the mouth for these deals. I don't know. I don't know what their attitude is about them. But I think you can address infrastructure. Is it there to support? So you have a reasonable basis for the moratorium. And I would recommend that you talk about moratorium. Well, we have a moratorium. Okay, you make a resolution, it passes. I would recommend if you're going to do that, that you say no building permits for data centers will be issued during the period of moratorium, so that you're defining what the moratorium affects.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to your question, Trustee Parker, I think it would we'd want to avoid stating our purpose in the negative towards a data center. Like, we're pausing so that we can write rules
I'm not
against
so
it.
worried about the moratorium itself as if we're gonna specifically call out data centers
Right.
in the ordinance. As far, I mean, yeah, a special or non-use, whatever, but.
But that's one of the things that you could address in these discussions, and ultimately whatever comes back to the village council. Because you do have in your zoning ordinance, not just in the industrial area, but in other areas, the permitted uses that don't really require permission. You might have to come in and get a building permit, you might have to submit a site plan, but you're not gonna be told, no, you can't do this. And so then you have it was mentioned, the special land uses for things that might be allowed, but we wanna take a little closer look at it. So you may decide that a data center will be a permitted use, providing it meets these criteria, or you might want it to be a special use for consideration. And I think it's premature to decide how you want to treat it until you've done the investigatory work that at least I'm talking about doing. I don't know what you're gonna do, I'm not accusing, but you wanna flesh it out, what the purpose of your investigation is, and you may come to the conclusion, again, remembering that you cannot specifically ban them, so you may want to come to the conclusion it's a permitted use, and then you have the guardrails in there, or no, it's a special land use, and you have the guardrails applicable to that.
Right, and we did speak about that, and I mean, I would like to see the planning commission recommended in that way, but that is just a preference. Okay, so we have a resolution for a moratorium for 6 months, at which time no building permits will be issued during the term of the moratorium, with the intention of reviewing the industrial zoning ordinance specifically concerning parameters regarding data centers or similar uses.
Can we make it a year, calendar year?
That's fine. Also, just to cover all of our bases, does just saying building permits cover special land use requests, site plan applications, rezoning requests? Is just saying building permits blanket enough?
They won't be able to do anything on the property.
For data centers.
Yeah, for
Well,
data centers.
You could say no applications for this use will be received, and no permits issued during the period of the moratorium.
Yes.
Do you want to circle back to who will be doing this?
Do we have a motion for a moratorium?
We give a second for the 12 months.
Who's the original?
Well,
Yeah.
to- At
Did
this
you make
point,
a
I
motion,
have
no
care
one?
for a motion.
I didn't yet.
Okay.
I mean, I think we're still kind of workshopping the language that we want on it, but
Okay.
that's coming shortly. I do want to make sure that I guess our intended use through the moratorium casts a wide enough net to make sure that we're discussing noise and light, not specifically just writing, section 3.5 about data centers. I want to make sure that we have the ability to comb through and, one, update this as necessary, ignoring all the data center stuff, but two, also making sure that in other sections of it that we're updating in other areas that don't just apply to data centers.
Well, that's where he's saying with the power consumption, that's a huge
Right.
issue.
And that might be necessary to be in place in a subject in this ordinance, not just in a data center category, but
the power
blanketly
consumption
throughout.
they're gonna talk about, usually you could probably run 10 four-motor plants.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding from your comment, are you suggesting this be two separate motions?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say we do the moratorium and then we can discuss.
I would
how it's
agree.
gonna get handled.
Okay. Just trying to understand where we're all going here.
Or we can include it in the
I just
moratorium, it doesn't
try-
matter.
It's probably cleaner that way.
Yeah, I'd be fine with establishing the moratorium first.
Okay, so do we want to stick with that? Do we have a resolution for moratorium?
Can you read what you've kind of been compiling so far?
I'm hearing that we're changing it to a year, so a resolution for a one-year moratorium where no building permits will be issued.
Or received.
Do we want to,
Within the industrial zoning district?
We're gonna eliminate the application also, in the moratorium.
Well, that's
I
where,
mean-
that's where the way Mark put it is received, that kind of eliminates that whole.
I would say in the village.
Spell it out.
I have a question. If it's a resolution, I have to write it up. Does it need to come back to you guys to view the verbiage? Would that, or is it
I believe
moving
it-
forward to now, like from now on?
I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but a resolution can be stated just as a
You can,
motion.
right,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So I don't need to bring it back to them?
Well, you can if that's what the board wants, but you
Okay.
don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'd like to do both. I'd like to move forward with it, install it as of tonight,
Right. 'cause
and
if-
then see it in writing in a month or whatever it is,
Okay.
the next meeting.
Mm-hmm, in proper format anyway. So I mean, I think to blanket everything, you could say the village establishes a temporary moratorium on the review, acceptance, and processing of any applications related to data centers within the industrial district
For a calendar year.
for 1 calendar year. Because then, at least if we identify all aspects of building and not
Is
just,
that a motion?
Yeah, he's trying.
not yet. Well,
Oh, I thought you were trying
because
to
we still
put
have
that
to,
in a motion.
we have to state the purpose as well in there.
I apologize. In general, we do not take comments from the audience, but I feel that you must have something that.
I'm sorry for breaking the rules.
You're
Might
fine.
I suggest that you also consider data centers and energy-intensive industries? Being next to a potential data center, you may get applications for other energy businesses that could come in to support that data center that would
Mm-hmm.
harness electricity. So you may want to consider both of those things, so you can study both of those at the same time.
Cryptocurrency mining.
So maybe we could blanket that as data centers and similar high energy and water usage uses. I think that would hopefully encompass both
Yeah,
of
we
those.
just have to get, eventually, we gotta get specific on what those, energy uses are, what's the specific number.
Right.
And I think Sean had a number, but.
Yeah, I mean, this is
But
the
I
30-second
guess
time out to give us a chance to hopefully
To do that.
dip
Megan's
into that.
contact has all that.
Right.
He has a lot of information. They've been doing some digging. Okay. Do you have a resolution to state?
What's it?
Yeah, the Village of Romeo establishes a temporary moratorium on the acceptance, processing, review, and approval of data centers and other similar high-energy and water usage facilities for a period of 365 days with the intent and purpose of reviewing the industrial district zoning ordinance and updating its purpose and permitted uses.
Support.
So I have a resolution by Kare, support by Parker. Can you read that to us, Clerk Lucero?
I was gonna rely on the video to come back at it tomorrow.
Do we,
If you rely on the video, I think that probably would work.
do we have any further discussion? Okay, with that, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Parker.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Bartholomew.
Yes.
Rasa.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Kare.
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. Okay, did we want to have a second motion, or, I feel like that kind of encompassed it. With the, you did speak to a specific intent.
Yeah, and now I just think, aside from that moratorium, we need to put a plan in place so that we can start reviewing it. I mean, giving us a year helps us do that a little better, but I mean, well, I guess the appropriate next step would either be to establish a subcommittee to start reviewing it, or task planning commission to start reviewing it. I definitely think a couple members of this board would be, I guess I can't say welcome because I want to be one of them, but we would be welcomed in on that feedback. I think it does help with time. I do want to be conscious of not, overstepping the planning commission in their diligence as well,
I
so.
think if we make it a point to keep it on the planning commission's agenda as a topic, and we can move forward, and then anyone can come and we can have that topic open for discussion at the planning commission, working with our planner that's there, and come to a resolution.
And then can you pass on, this is the moratorium, this is the time frame.
Yeah.
These are some of the things we're looking at, like give them those specifics as a starting point. So they know what we've already talked about, some ideas that we have. And then one or two of us can commit to being at certain meetings.
In 6 months, if this council doesn't feel like the planning commission is moving forward fast enough, we can take it back.
Or if planning commission wants to help, I mean, as ex-officio, you might be the one bearing a lot of the information getting sent over from here or from residents. So, yeah, that, I mean, I guess, I don't love it, but, I mean, I'd like you guys to have the opportunity to work on it yourselves, and after a few months, if we think it's better to move a little faster, then so be it.
So we'll get this on.
Do we want to make a motion to clarify the intention to planning?
Yeah.
That way it's not just a transference of, hey, we talked about that.
Sounds good, yep.
What would we like that to be? Make a motion to send this to planning for them to review the zoning ordinances. I mean, it's.
Review it.
it-
Monthly
it-
updates.
it's a Industrial district.
Yeah.
It's
with
kind of
with
similar
monthly
to
updates.
what we first stated.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not pulling a good one out of nowhere at the moment.
We can write it up.
I mean, I'll make a motion to task planning commission to review the industrial zoning ordinance in regards to data centers
And high energy usage.
and high water usage uses, with monthly agenda items discussing it.
To be reviewed by council in 6 months?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's appropriate.
I'll support.
What is that, July?
To be reviewed in July.
Second by Parker.
Does he, okay, yeah,
Do I have a motion by Kare, second by Parker?
gotcha.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sending it to the planning commission. Moving on to our resolution regarding proposed data center development with trustee Kare.
Yeah, so this, just to switch gears a little bit, I wrote this resolution in regards to the specific development on 32 Mile. Similar to your example from Saline, it doesn't actually reside in Romeo, but it's going to affect us a lot. I tried to be diligent and careful. I copied a couple, copied is a loose verb, but I copied a couple other resolutions from similar entities and municipalities in a situation like us. I tried to be diligent not to specifically say we don't like that just because it's in our backyard and we don't want it there. Whether I have that opinion or not, I guess is irrelevant, but, so I tried to point out a couple things in the resolution that just mention traffic, effects on electrical reliability and stress on our infrastructure, possible noise and lighting impacts. It was intentionally a little bit generic and vague. Essentially, this resolution is just stating that the Village of Romeo formed the opinion that they don't like that specific application being submitted. Not that we, just to avoid getting us in any trouble, not that we hate data centers, just that that specific use at that specific location is something that we think is gonna impact us.
If I could take a few minutes to read this
Yeah.
so that we all,
I think this is important to pass, just to let Washington Township know exactly where we do stand. I think they kind of know where we stand.
Right.
But this lets them know where we stand,
Right.
in black and white. Like I say, when I attended the one meeting in December, there had to be 300 people at that meeting, and probably 54 of them, I think it was the number, of the people stood up and made a comment for 3 minutes. I mean, we were there a long time. We were there 3.5 hours. Just to kind of put it in black and white, let Washington Township know where the Village of Romeo stands.
Yeah, and will it hold a lot of legal weight? I don't know, probably not, but at least it's an official.
I don't think it's a legal document. I mean, from that standpoint, there's nothing to enforce, but it does let them know what our feelings are. What the people from the Village of Romeo think about it. Just to put it on record.
I agree.
so if I may take a moment, the following preamble and resolution were offered by members such and supported by members such. Whereas the Village of Romeo, County of Macomb, State of Michigan, i.e. the Village, is a municipal corporation organized and existing under the laws of the State of Michigan. And whereas public information indicates that a large-scale development commonly known as a data center or technical campus, the 32-mile technical campus has been proposed by Prologis in Washington Charter Township, and whereas public information further indicates that the proposed development is located immediately south of 32 Mile Road between M53 Van Dyke and Powell Road, directly adjacent to areas north of 32 Mile Road that include the Village of Romeo. And whereas the Village Council finds that a development of this scale and intensity located in close proximity to the village boundary has the potential to create significant off-site impacts extending beyond the host municipality. And whereas such potential impacts may reasonably include, but are not limited to, increased construction-related traffic, increased demand on nearby public safety and emergency response services, adverse effects on electrical reliability and related infrastructure serving the village, potential impacts to groundwater resources and possible noise, lighting, and visual impacts. And whereas the Village Council further finds that these potential impacts may be borne in substantial part by the residents, businesses, and taxpayers of the Village of Romeo, despite the proposed development being located outside the village's municipal boundaries. And whereas the Village Council is not adopting a general policy position regarding data centers as a land use, but is expressing concern regarding the specific siting and proximity of the proposed development relative to the Village of Romeo. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Romeo hereby formally opposes the proposed large-scale data center or technical campus development known as the 32-mile technical campus and any associated rezoning or approvals in Washington Charter Township as the proposed location due to the anticipated adverse effects on the Village of Romeo. The Village Council finds the proposed development as currently contemplated is not compatible with the interests of the Village of Romeo, its residents, businesses, and public infrastructure. The village clerk is directed to transmit a copy of this resolution to the appropriate officials of Washington Charter Township and any governmental bodies reviewing or acting upon the proposed development. Rescission, any resolutions and parts of the resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution are hereby rescinded.
Is that a motion, or you just read it?
I'm just reading it for the...
We clap.
Yeah, I mean, first, I put a lot of hours into this. I mean, I copied similar formats from old village resolutions and other municipalities. So first, I just want to make sure that it's Mark, you don't see any issues that glare out with how it's written or
I do not.
anything? Okay. That's it.
With that, so trustee Kare, do you make a,
Yeah, I make a motion
Resolution.
to adopt this resolution as presented.
Support.
okay, so we have Kare,
I'm sorry,
support by
Trustee Kare, would
Parker.
you be willing to add property value into the potential impact, decrease in property value? Where you have,
Third paragraph from the bottom.
Yes.
yep,
After groundwater resources, comma,
It seems
property
like-
value impacts, comma, and then it continues on as is. That's fine.
okay.
Motion still stands.
Still support.
Amending my motion, yeah.
Resolution?
Did a nice job, Nolan.
Thank you.
With that, do we have any further discussion?
You're,
Still
you
stands.
still stands to
Yeah,
to the
still
amendment?
supports. I mean, I will say that initially coming in, before hearing everyone, I mean, I've done some research. And I don't know if I'm fully opposed, but hearing the outcry from the community, you know, that's what we're here for, is to help support and work with the community and the members and the residents. But I've visited in some, and I'm out of state and other states. They don't see this. I visited several in Atlanta area where they're popping up like crazy. And you don't hear this down there. When you talk to the people down there, it's not like this. So I don't know what's different up here. So I'm more than open to getting more education. Thank you for the information that was brought. So listening to you guys, I will support.
Well, I think we need to look into it.
Right.
Definitely.
I mean, this fits as the previous moratorium fits as a, stop and pause and let's roll our sleeves up and figure out, how we want this to play out.
Right, we don't need to react, we need to be proactive and do what we can
Yeah.
in the front. And maybe in a year, there'll be so much advancement in technology that AI data centers won't be a thing anymore.
That was
Don't have to worry
discussed
about it.
also at one of those meetings, yeah. I mean,
It'll
we
be-
could be,
it'll
in
be a-
10 years, they could be obsolete already.
That'd be great.
Space.
And then you just got a hole.
Anyways, okay, it is 9:30, just so we're cognizant, I did set a timer for myself. Our meetings do set, they're determined, we predetermined time of 10 o'clock. We have a half an hour left. Let us keep moving.
Do we did
We need
vote on
to
that,
Oh,
did we?
I'll,
It's gotta be roll call.
roll call, please.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Rosso?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Kare?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Moving on to our updated funds application and ordinance. The application is in here. Some items from it have changed. I did my best to try to differentiate what is proposed and what was. So the first portion of your application, that is what we currently have, that is the original. If you flip 3 pages, that is the draft.
I'll make a motion that we accept this application as presented in ordinance.
Support.
Are we gonna do them separate? That's fine. We have a motion by Fowler, support, by Bartholomew.
Bartholomew,
For
yeah.
the application, is that correct? Okay.
Application and ordinance,
Application and ordinance.
Oh, you wanna do both? I thought you
as
were.
accepted, as printed, as
Okay,
presented. Thanks for
so application and ordinance, discussion.
So the one thing that jumped out to me was the different pricing for the height. I just didn't know where that came from. I don't remember seeing, obviously, we don't do much with the application planning, but I don't remember seeing that. Why there'd be a different cost for a different height?
Well, that height is, residential is limited to 48 inches, right?
Negative.
Or for front?
Well, in the front.
In the front, so maybe it's a Just a bigger fence, more to inspect, I guess, I don't know.
If anything, wouldn't it be like over a certain length you would want a higher dollar amount, because you're inspecting more linear footage? I mean, looking at the
Are you
fences.
saying under the current one?
No, page 2.
Yeah, but the caveat, it says fees were adopted by the board on March 16th of 2020.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying that's one thing that's
I
not.
can't tell you why, I can just tell you that it was done.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
Those fees are 6 years old, I'm wondering if we need to readdress that, considering our costs have quadrupled in the past 6 years or something like that.
Yeah. We wanna make sure it's unilateral with other permit applications too, right? In building.
Did the planning commission discuss that at all?
No, no, when it came to the application, that was more here, this board.
Didn't Mike go over this entire, Mike and Sarah?
Mike went over it, discussed a few different things. I know we waived having a boundary site survey, and part of the proposal, he wanted it back, but then decided that we would just review drawings.
You waived it as part of,
Our proposal.
as part of the ordinance, but
Yeah.
suggested it be put on the application itself, that they provide some sort of site,
Boundary survey, something.
no, they didn't want a survey, but at least some kind of more official than a napkin, is what they've been getting.
We've got some unique drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
An engineering drawing or something?
no.
No?
Away from that.
No, just a little bit more professional, boundary,
Scale drawing.
yeah.
Specific.
Yeah.
Similar to like what you do with your garages and stuff, you have to show your setbacks, everything else, give all of your, measurements, where your footings are, it's kind of what he wants with these as well, because sometimes we just get drawings, and they don't really say anything else.
It just, the fence is gonna go here
Yeah,
around the house.
it's just a box.
Okay, I need a little bit more than that. Again, the setbacks, how it closes to the house, and they're like,
Yeah. Where the transition is in height.
I understand you wanna put a privacy fence around your backyard, yeah.
So Trustee Parker, I mean, do you just wanna raise the prices and then make them uniform regardless of size?
I would, yeah, I don't see any reason to have separate for height.
Clerk, did you have something you wanted to add?
I think we should ask our building official, because he handles a number of municipalities, and I know these fees are based on, not only the code book, what they say you can or should charge, but he would also be a wealth of knowledge in what other municipalities are charging for this.
I'll take back my motion then, and we'll table this to next meeting. So
You wanna
talk
table the
to Mike
whole
Paul?
thing? or
We can
just
approve the application, right?
No.
Or,
that's-
excuse me, the
we can
ordinance.
approve the ordinance.
Do you wanna table the whole thing, or just the application?
Well, you indicated you're gonna talk with Mike again, right?
Regarding the application.
Just the application.
Just the application?
So we can approve the ordinance.
Okay.
Zach.
So you wanna amend your,
Yes, well, I'll amend it to just approve the ordinance.
Okay.
And you're gonna come back, or get in touch with Mike as far as the application?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Trustee Bartholomew, do you?
Yes.
I'm okay with the change.
Okay, we have a motion by Fowler, support by Bartholomew, approving draft fence ordinance as presented from planning. They did hold their public hearing, all of the proper things. It did take a hot minute to get it back to the council. We need to clean up our mode of communication there. Other than that, do you want to, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Budget amendments. Do you want to, Danielle is here from Plant Moran in case we have conversation, or did you read through them? This is our quarterly, so yes, there were quite a few. Do you have any specific questions or anything you want Danielle to address?
I saw in here, HRC was paid for the local street resurfacing.
There were two categories, the cracks that needed crack sealing. And then there was some major work that they, was the company, was the road company. Anyways, I'm blanking, the paving company, that was clearly theirs. When it came down to it, in the crack sealing, and I believe, we discussed this before, it's like $5,000 or so, and I wasn't waiting until we could argue it out. Winter was coming, water was gonna get in, we did it. That's where, I mean, we had, I believe that was October or November, we had that discussion at the table.
So it was completed though, all of its.
As far as I have not inspected it out personally myself. Let me say, where's Tim? Yep. Anything else? It does include a hefty amount moving, some budget money for the tree board. The tree board has been very busy. They have taken their inventory and they've used it, as they should, with the proper intention, and have come up with a plan, and following the rest of this year's budget and what they would need. So between a few invoices that they might have overstepped and spent money that they didn't have yet, and then the money that they have remaining to fulfill the work for this year. So that's why that portion is a bit heftier at the moment. That's about all I can. Anybody else? Okay, do we have a motion for the budget amendments?
Motion to accept the budget amendments as presented.
Support?
So we have a motion by Bartholomew, seconded by Edwards. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, can you please call the roll?
Yes, give me 1 second. Kare.
Yes.
Fowler.
No.
Rosso.
Yes.
Bartholomew.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
President Presencki.
Yes. Moving into our police generator purchase, as Chief previously mentioned, pardon me, the grant kind of locks us into specifically the Michigan CAT. I have not myself laid eyes fully on the grant, but it is my understanding that it is a reimbursement grant, and we are responsible for 25% of the cost, just so that we are aware of that. We received, our grant is for $73,000 and some change, correct? The Michigan CAT is quoted at, I just saw it, $96,297. So it is, think with me, it's 20% of the project, it's not 20% of what they give us, so that essentially is that. They cover the 73, we got the rest.
Right.
So, looking at the bids, I mean, first I'll touch on I always touch on the purchase policy. If this dollar amount should have been a sealed bid that was RFP'd, right? But all three bids are completely different to the point where, not even are we just looking at a different brand, it's to the point where if we go with one, it could potentially not even work in our facility. Some are talking about a 208 three-phase system, and other ones are talking about a single-phase system. So I would say we need to kind of pump the brakes and make sure that we're approving what we actually need and what we're getting, because some talk about 300 foot of piping, other ones don't even acknowledge that, which is a big difference. And the phasing is a big thing. I mean, you can't just buy a generator for three-phase and try to make it work. This is my industry, so I mean.
But I guess, if I could, sir, this is what FEMA is deeming we need, and they are saying they're only going with that. But they didn't even have any other, I don't think, Chief, did they have the other 3 bids? They did? Well, this is what FEMA's willing to pay for, and if you guys vote no on it, then we don't have a generator and they're not gonna pay for it.
I just said, let's pump the brakes and make sure we're getting what we actually need. Just because, I'm sure FEMA didn't come out and check our phasing, right? And look at our facility and say, you have a three-phase or you have a single-phase. And if that's the case, why did 2 other electrical companies quote a single-phase generator if they've come out?
I'll defer to the Chief.
Tim reviewed all those and said the CAT proposal is the one we need moving forward. In addition to, when we're talking about costs, CAT has a 5-year replacement warranty. Industry standard is 2 years.
Yeah.
That's several $1,000s to purchase an extra 3 years on a warranty.
Yeah.
That is just included in that, so. But as I stated earlier, I have a lot of subject matter expertise, but that's not one of them.
Yeah,
And
and I'm not
I
trying
relied
to call
on-
anyone out, I'm just saying, let's just make sure we're getting what we actually need, and I'm not discrediting Tim, but he's also not an electrician, right? He doesn't install generators. So let's just pump the brakes, I'm not saying let's say no, let's just make sure we're getting what's actually needed for that
So what
facility.
what are you suggesting that we do?
Typically, when something like this would go out for bid, we'd have our engineer look at it and draft up a spec to have bid. And if we put it out for bid for people that qualify for the FEMA funding, then we probably get FEMA funding or qualified people that would be able to bid that. I've got to believe that Michigan Cat's not the only person in the country that could bid out a generator for FEMA.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this generator for the entire village hall or just your part of the police?
Police Department and Village Hall.
Yeah, it's the whole building, yeah.
It went down, the current one is, like I said, it's 33 years old.
Yeah.
And it went down
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, and it wouldn't start. And they had to have, I believe it was CAT, come out on an emergency run on a holiday weekend, which was a significant
cheap,
cost.
yeah.
So, that piece of machinery over there is dying a little more every day.
So they can't physically come and look at our,
They did.
I
Yep,
mean,
yep.
besides the emergency, they came and looked at the building and said, this is what you need.
Yes.
And the other 2 did also?
In fact, all 3 did.
Yeah, so
In-
that's kind of where I'm
In the one
a little
that was
hesitant.
significantly lower, again, not being a subject matter expert, took the people that are, and was kind of roundly dismissed. This is nowhere near what we need. So they missed the mark on even their proposal, so. But CAT has, I think 3 of the 4 generators we have in the village. Tim is familiar with them, that company, working with them. He sat down with me and read all 3 and the specs and
Yeah.
said, this is the one that will, in fact, that one is bigger than the one we have, planning for
Potential future.
potential future
Yeah.
need for more energy,
data center maybe.
so.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the police generator purchase,
Yeah.
Which one?
the one that Cat, the one the chief was suggesting.
What's that? Yeah,
The one in the CAT in the amount of $96,297?
Yes.
Support.
So we have a motion by Bartholomew.
if we order a generator,
It's 6 months out.
pay for it, and these are built for us. And if we buy one that's the wrong phasing, we're sitting with a generator trying to sell it. I'm just saying, let's just pump the brakes and make sure we're actually looking at the right setup.
Madam President, if I may.
I do apologize. No.
Chief, if this goes through, can you call Michigan Cat, have them come back out one more time and make sure the specs are appropriate, the appropriate phase for our panel and everything?
Yes.
I think that's appropriate.
Do you mention Tim has 3 of these already? In the village, are they three-phase or
No,
single-phase?
that-
Would you have any
that's
idea?
not- That's gonna make a complete, facility is different, three-phase, single-phase, I mean, it's all throughout the village.
Okay, assuming it's the incorrect phase and the amount is under that, we move forward. If the amount is over that, where are we at?
Can we just,
It's approved for that amount, so if it's
is it
over
gonna
that, it would
hurt
be approved, right?
that much to wait a month?
Potentially,
sure-
I don't know, I haven't seen the grant, I don't know what time frame we're locked into. And so we could potentially be paying $20,000 for a generator that if we don't react in time, we're now paying $100,000 of our own.
Chief, what's the time frame on the grant?
I have a kickoff meeting next week. Don't have an answer yet.
No.
But what we are approved prior to the kickoff meeting, going ahead and ordering equipment and getting the planning phase established, knowing that we are already looking into midsummer 2026.
Looks like we would make the motion pending verification of proper phasing.
Nathan, would you amend your
I'm
motion
okay with
to
that.
include that?
Yes.
I'll still support.
Do we have any further discussion?
Thanks, Trustee Parker. I appreciate you pointing it out. I mean, it's probably something that gets overlooked by, by a lot of people.
No.
And
Yeah, there was a lot of discrepancies throughout these bids that was alarming, that.
You're never gonna get the exact, I say it over, unless you go out for quote, it's not gonna
Again,
happen.
it's not a brand situation, we're not talking about Chevy and a Ford. This is a unit that will not work if you have this. It's completely something that should have been overlooked, and that's part of the reason we have purchase policies, and we get specs built out, and we follow the due diligence. I mean, every day you get people that come in for applications, and they don't properly fill out an application, you administratively deny them, and then we just get this thrown in front of us, which is all completely different. This should have went back and said, this isn't right. Where's the bid? Where's the spec? That's why these things are in place, to safeguard the village. And we just openly continue to make motions to spend money on stuff that we don't even know what we're getting.
I disagree. Do we have any more discussion?
Yeah, who's going to double check this? Is the CAT going to double check it to make sure that's what we need? Because we said someone would come out and do that.
And then do we trust if they're the ones that bid it wrong, that they're gonna come up and they go, oh yeah, we looked at this one, we'll get you the right one.
I can have HRC come out. Okay.
I think it was also a matter of, it wasn't 3 bids to us, it was 3 bids to FEMA too, so I don't know if, it's kind of taking it out of your guys' hands. With the grants that we've been looking at too, the president and I with the grant writer, a lot of times it doesn't go to you guys for your purchasing policy. It is the funding entity, if it's, FEMA, they're the ones that are going to look at all the grants, so it's kind of doubling efforts if you guys then get all these bids, but they all still need to, you guys can't just pick out of those bids and say, okay, we're going with this one, because then they still have to go on to FEMA, and they might pick something completely different than what you guys are willing to do.
And that's understandable, but presentation means a lot, and that kind of information wasn't presented, that, hey, FEMA got all this information, these two are ones we don't need, we have confirmed this one we do need. Like, had all that come together and presented, then we could have gone, okay. But it was,
I feel like Chief said that in the beginning, that FEMA has only said he didn't know until after he spoke with them, so the other two don't really matter. It's only the CAT one that FEMA was going to approve.
right, but this packet came to us on Thursday, so we didn't
Right.
know that at that point. So when I spent my time looking at this, I thought to myself, these are 3 totally different items. Which one do we really need? Which one's gonna suit our purpose? Maybe it falls back to what you were saying, that
I will also say that you can always call the office, myself or Chief, and we can run through the information with you.
I hear what you're saying.
that's what these meetings are for,
Yeah.
President Poznanski, is we get the information, we can make decisions.
I hear what you're saying.
Nathan, would you amend your motion pending the village engineer approves the
Yeah,
appropriate requirements?
I'll do that, pending, the village engineers looking over and
Hey,
making
you
sure.
elected us to do this. We're doing it. We'll figure it out. Okay, any more discussion?
So it's pending the village engineer?
Yes. I can even follow it up with an email if we'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, I would prefer a roll call at the point.
Kare,
Yes.
Fowler,
No.
Parker,
No.
Rosso,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. At this point, we have 10 minutes left to our meeting. I would like us to consider, we have the whole portion of unfinished business.
Motion to extend. past
Considering
10
what's
o'clock.
on it, do we want to extend, or would we like to, what is everyone doing tomorrow night?
Motion to extend past 10 o'clock.
We have a motion by Parker to extend.
Second.
Bartholomew's already supported.
Okay, second by Bartholomew to extend. Do you want a time frame, or do you just want to extend?
Get it done.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you for coming. Anybody want to leave? Okay. Our IT RFP, yes, by all means. This was on last month. We postponed till we had the rest of the information. Where's my stuff?
Clerk, I appreciate the kind of the summary of the proposals and at least kind of specifically mentioning ones that don't meet the licensing requirements or the requirements that we put on the RFP. That helps narrow it down a little bit, but it is still nice to see all of the applications that we got.
I apologize, there's a lot of information. Okay, so with the addition of the other proposals,
10 in total.
pardon me,
10 in total.
10 of all of our proposals,
No, 10 additional. in
additional
total.
ones?
Yes.
Okay.
That brings you up to 1, 2, 3, 17 in total.
And so that this page only has the, walk me through it.
Okay, so you still have your original proposal pages that I did for each one, and then what I submitted with you guys for the other 10, the vendor proposals, it gives a summary of, you know, what the concerning, the original concern was, what sections of the RP they did not meet, a summary of, you know, what they didn't do, i.e. like missing insurance documents, or they are not CGIS or lien certified. That's a big one, because this RFP is for the entirety of the village, and if we hire someone who is not CGIS or lien, we are essentially leaving our police department like out to dry. So we need someone, and we've had a few, you know, we'll get certified if we win the bid, but that is not a quick certification. You're talking about 6 or 7 months, so that is a concern. But, and then you have some others that, you know, because we asked for financial history, because we want to know that if we're hiring someone and walking down the aisle with them, they're not just going to pack up and, you know, leave us hanging because they can't manage their money correctly. So, and then other things to consider is whether or not licensing is included in their packages. I know a few of them have it where our licensing is included. Some of them are inflated on the licensing, that's something you have to consider. And then some of them have à la carte pricing, so as where they may not, their bid might seem low, it's because they've omitted things from the original RFP, but they're saying, well, we'll offer you the services that you're saying you need, but this is the cost per service, like, for instance, you know, when we look for a managed service provider, they are our chief information officer, and we need a virtual CIO. Some of them say, well, we're not gonna do that. We'll do it as needed, and it's gonna run at a rate of 125 an hour, or it's gonna run at a rate of 200% what our normal hourly rate is for this. So there's a number of things you guys need to consider, which is why I tried to break it down as much as possible in the summary pages that I gave you guys to look at. And then, you know, some of them have not been around that long, and, you know, or don't have necessarily a municipal experience. So we're a different beast as a municipality. You can be amazing at out there in the business world with private, but as soon as you walk into the realm of public, all of the restrictions right now, and especially there's new standards coming out every day, especially in the policing world from DOJ and FBI on standards and what you need to be certified in if you're gonna have access to those. I mean, just to walk into the police station, Megan and I had to get fingerprinted and registered just to be able to walk in there, so we didn't have to sign, you know, 2 or 3 things every time we walked into the police station. So those are things that need to be considered. And I will now pass it back to you.
Okay, considering we've seen all of the proposals now between last month and this month, do we have any discussion? Does anybody have any way that they're leaning?
Clerk Lucero, do you remember, I couldn't find like, you remember all this, Global Solutions Group, on your summary, it didn't say anything if they included their financial or what the.
They did, it's in their thing, they,
Okay. That's okay, as long as you know.
it's in their binder, it's about midway through their binder. They have a full-on last 3 years of financials.
That's great, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
After thoroughly going through them, Clerk Lucero, do you have a recommendation?
I mean, there are 4 that stick out to me. I don't mind our current vendor, just because we have a working relationship and moving forward, they can complete everything. VC3 is another one, the Callisto Group, they are huge in municipalities. And then, yeah, Global Solutions Group, and Global Solutions Group, when I was looking through them, I was blown back but they work with hundreds of municipalities, federal departments and everything else. So the only thing that gives me pause with them is, are they big and work in this realm? Yeah, but at the same time, we're small, and does that mean we go down the chain in terms of our concerns, their concerns? You know, you hope not, but if I was just to look at their pedigree, if we were to see the 2 actually who have the most government background are Global and VC3, hands down.
The only caution I would, about the large business or small business, is look in front of you. You've got Plant Moran sitting here. They're not exactly a small business.
Correct.
And they treat us pretty damn well.
Correct.
Give
And
us
that's
individual service.
And
No,
that's,
I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, yeah.
Where
No, I hear you.
you might be throwing fear into something that's not there.
I do have, like I said, I have, I didn't say it gives me great pause, it just gives me a little bit of pause that it might be one of those. But yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. I mean, they've done, I love the relationship I have with Danielle and Riley too. So,
Well, under the summary provided, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, you're fine.
Global Solutions Group, under the summary that is provided, it says the vendor lists all personnel who would be assigned to the village.
Yes.
So it looks like they did
They,
take
so,
consideration in specific.
they and all the original ones, the ones that I put out, that original page that said proposals for review, all of them actually list who would actually be, like, we had one, they kept calling me multiple times saying, is offshore okay? And I said, absolutely not. And then they send me a proposal, it's stating on there, no offshore, list their people, but no last name or anything, and I was able to backtrace them, and they're all offshore. So in some of these, I had to go through who they're saying are working with us, because that was part of an addendum that, no, absolutely no offshore. We want to be able to have someone, if we call them, we need someone on site, we know who they are, who's coming in. Everybody who was on the original proposals and, GSG, RCC did it as well. They listed out who would actually be hands-on. CNM did, I believe. Oh, no, CNM did not. VC3 did as well, yes. They listed out and then provided also executive summaries for everybody they listed
Yeah.
who will be with us.
I like
which
theirs
is
because
good.
it seemed like it was catered towards, their whole packet was catered towards municipal stuff. I don't know if they did that intentionally for us, VC3. But it seems like that's something they kind of specialize in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. They would have a lot of cross-references.
Okay, so with that discussion, does anybody want to make a motion?
I'm here, I'm Randy Allen from BC3, so if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to.
Zach and RCCIP is also here.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't notice.
We're going to keep it at the board level. I apologize, I did not acknowledge you. Thank you.
Danielle's also here from Plant Moran, but I don't know if she can
Okay.
speak
And
to it.
RCC's,
We have all the information we
local
need. We have
companies,
more
too.
than enough information.
Blue Water Trucking and, what was the other one? Accounting, it was an accounting firm. North End Tax.
Just dump them out.
Do you have the amount?
Pardon me?
Do you have the amounts totals in front of you?
I do on separate pages. I have, the one you guys just got, has the amounts
The
at the
new
bottom.
ones, right?
Huh? Oh, thank you. The new one you guys got has all of the 10 that I provided you guys. It has all of their numbers at it. The original ones you guys got last month has,
Yeah.
so I'll have to go through it. If you guys want to write them down, I'll just run through them real quick. I'll give you guys the 3-year total, that way you guys can, rather than just going through everything. 3-year total applied innovation, $143,502.32. Cyber Husky, $122,040. Again, these are 3-year totals. Because that's what this is for, 3 years with the option to extend for 2 more years. Plant Moran, $174,960. Skynet, $109,937.15. SYO, $138,130.65. The Callisto Group, $154,800. And then VC3, $112,480. And I did notice when I was reading these, I won't get into it, but there are some of them, if you guys still have those, you'll have to look at the bottom of the page, because I did put like, there are some discounts from some of them if you pay your annual fee up front, and there's also some of them that, you know, they do have charges, on other devices and everything else, and so it's just things to, like I said, to keep in mind when you guys are looking at these.
I make a motion that we accept the vendor proposal from VC3.
Support.
Okay, motion.
Who wants the support?
Justin can have it.
We have a motion by Rasso, support by Parker. Any further discussion?
Thank you three for being here.
Hearing no further discussion, can you please call the roll, Clerk Lucero?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Kare.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Bartholomew.
Yes.
Rosso.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. Moving into our audit RFP. We did get 3 back to us. One from our current Gabridge, one from Yo and Yo, and one from Manor Costerian? I don't know.
Yeah, cost, yeah, whatever.
I don't, huh? Costerian, okay. I have no idea. So with those, where are the rest? Like, is this just a proposal?
I didn't know that we had information on that. I don't-
Yeah, we just have the policy in the packet.
The RFP.
No, we sent those to you on Thursday. I sent, they should have came with your.
Oh, they're in the white one?
No, you had the white one, that was the RFP, and then there was a brown one on top of that one with the 3.
Like this color?
Yeah,
Did anybody get it?
What?
the RFP for,
Audit?
yeah, you should have got 2.
Yeah, I got 2.
Yeah, I got 2.
And then I got the big white one. I got 3 packages over there.
Yeah, you should have got a big white one and 2 manillas.
Yep, that's why I got 2 of them.
Did you get it? Yeah, in there it has the RFP and the 3. I didn't put a summary together because there were only 3 of them. We didn't get many.
How do you feel about the current supplier?
Are you asking me?
Jamie? Yeah, Jamie.
I like them. I have a good working relationship with them. I mean, if you guys would allow me, I would also like to defer to our accountants to see, like, what, have you guys had working relationships other than who with the
Oh,
other
sure.
3? Have you?
Yeah, I work with both Yo and Meaner. Who was the other one? There's 3.
Well, it was the current
Okay.
Gabridge.
So we work with all 3. I personally work with all 3 firms on multiple clients.
Okay. I'm kind of the mind frame that if it's not broke, don't fix it. We have a good working relationship with Gabridge. They're very responsive. And I haven't had experiences with the other 2, so I can't really speak to that. They're all kind of the same. I mean, what we're asking them is pretty much the same thing across the board, so. For me, it's kind of, cost becomes an issue in the absence of value, and we get good value for our money right now with Gabridge. I feel.
Gabridge is by far the most economically priced. If they all seem to be on par, and that's the only differentiation.
No one's got any problem with them. I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Gabridge and Company for our next year's auditing services.
Support?
I think Parker had it first.
Yep.
I would just want to clarify with the motion that you spoke to next year, and I do believe this is a
3-year.
3-year for the
Yes.
term of the,
It extends, it's from 26 to 28.
26, 28.
With your guy, you have a 2-year option for this board to extend it out to 30,
Okay?
if you so choose. Are you willing, are you making an amendment to your,
Yeah, I'll
thing
make
to-
a minute. I'll add that in, sure.
Okay,
so we had a motion by Edwards. Who was the support?
Parker.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion with that?
So I guess not directly with that, but if we needed to include that in this one, should we not include it in the IT one also for the term?
We just said we'd go with it. Matt specifically mentioned 1 year.
Yeah, I
Like-
made a mistake.
Just the
Yeah,
way
yeah,
it was.
the IT proposals all
I mis-
mentioned in there too,
misworded
what the
mine.
proposal.
Yeah, it was just in the way it was worded, and I didn't want it to mess it
I
up.
understand. I missed what you said. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay, could you please call the roll?
Yes, sorry, I was in La La Land for a second. Bartholomew,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Kare,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. Moving into our village council purchasing policy draft update. I know we've been working on this for a minute. I don't know everyone's appetite that this is not too dire to postpone until next month to continue moving in business as it's almost 10:15.
Motion to postpone village council purchasing policy update.
Okay, motion by Kare, support by Parker, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, our DDA joint garbage corrals, again, as much as I love the project in its entirety.
Motion to table the village and DDA
Support.
joint.
Postpone.
Postpone.
Okay, motion by Parker, who is
Care support.
support by Kare, postpone. Let's at least touch on our ZB.
All in favor?
Owen.
Oh, pardon me, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, touching on our ZBA appointments.
Motion to approve all ZBA appointments as presented.
Okay, we have a motion
Support.
by Fowler, support by Parker. Do we have any discussion? Can't find mine.
I'm sorry, we're moving fast. You said, it
Motion-
was Fowler and Parker?
Correct, to
Okay.
approve trustee Rousseau, Lisa Hall, Zach Throne, Dante Leo, Sharon Smith. That at
Gotcha.
least gets us a 5-member board. We are still in search of 2 alternates. Should anybody like to volunteer? Motion second, any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Our next, this one is just for a point of reference. Our next village and DDA joint meeting was set for April 13th at 7 PM. Tuck that away. Next, we have our 5-year forecast for a pre-budget meeting. This is something that, in reference, and I do say facetiously, like, when Matt was like, oh, so we're great. No, we're not. We know we're not. So as we move into budget season, I wanted us to take a specific meeting to look at our 5-year forecast, what it means to not have the revenue that we generally would have from the Ford property, to see our fire and ALS continue to increase, to see what our options are, and to look over and seriously consider public safety special assessment, should we need that. So anyways, these are the suggested dates. If we could come up with a date. Where are we at?
I'm good with February 9th, and do you want to put like a backup as February 24th?
I won't be here on the 9th.
Will you be there, are you gone for a period of time? Would you be here for the 10th?
No, I just gotta pick up from the airport, so.
Do you want to,
Sorry, go ahead.
I can do Tuesday the 10th.
Is our meeting normal next month, or is it pushed back?
It is an extra,
It's pushed back.
the
It's the
23rd.
23rd, yeah. Rather than the 16th.
So are we saying 10?
I'm fine with that.
10 with a tentative
I'm
back,
good with that.
with a backup of 24? Is that what you would like?
I don't know, do we need a backup? Probably not, then we'll just use it.
Okay, so can I have a motion?
Make a motion to pick February 10th, 2026 as the 5-year forecast pre-budget meeting.
Support.
A motion by Kare, support by Parker. Any more discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
What time?
Oh,
7 PM.
7 o'clock, just like usual, okay. Pardon me, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on. Our downtown parking committee meeting dates, trustee Kare had mentioned that, again, and had asked me to place this in here for reference. Is there anything else?
Did you confirm with Parks and
I
Rec?
have not, I apologize, but we can.
And those will all be, yep, 7 PM.
Are you talking about for this building? Oh, next door.
We're gonna do the west room.
Got it.
That doesn't need a motion, does it?
No, it was more for info. And then moving into our last added item of the planning and zoning ordinance discussion. Just trying to pull up my email. I received an email from the planning chair. In trying to move forward with the ZBA, with the special meeting, trying to get everything in order, this council had made a motion. It had a few different aspects of it. Ms. Fowler, our planning commission chair, expressed, well, we all got the email, right?
Yep.
Everybody got, anyways. It sounded as if, thought that there was an intention to overstep, or that there was not, there was confusion to what was going on. I am trying to move us in that direction. So part of that motion was to get a full board with 2 alternates. We've at least got a full board. Gonna wait for 2 more people to step up to get our alternates. We determined that those books, the bound books, those are ancient. We need those back. So I printed off an excerpt from our ordinance book and said, well, then give them this. And we go off of that and what's online. And Ms. Fowler pointed out that, well, even those don't match. Okay, so now what do we do? So I spoke with Mr. Clerk in trying to find out where the original ordinance is that supports Article 46. Can't seem to be located in the building. We do have some amendments that are able to be found. So in speaking with Mr. Clark, the best suggestion is you have to pick one. This is not ideal. This is the best of the situation that we have. In knowing that the online ordinance has the most up-to-date, has the amended in there, we say that we take that as our ordinance and we re-adopt it so that we can't say, but is it or isn't it? When did that happen? So that is unless you can say it much nicer than that, Mr. Clark.
No, you stated it quite rightly. My concern is it appears that there may be at least 2 and possibly 3 versions of the zoning ordinance out and about. One is in that hardcover 3, they're not really rings, but 3 post binders, which I've used forever. And that's one version, I'm told, because I use that. I seldomly look online at the zoning ordinance, but I'm told the provisions in the online version don't match all the provisions in the printed version. And then we found, or it was found, there's a standalone version of the zoning ordinance that I think has 18 in its numeration. The hardbound paper version, the numeration is 46 and after, and I believe the online shows it as 46. So I don't want to stumble over a numeration issue, but it appears there are substantive discrepancies. And so you could, the planning commission could have a public hearing, make a recommendation, and pick one. I don't think you can stumble along with the discrepancies. People that want to do things in the village by way of development or repair or maintenance or new construction, people have a right to rely on guidance of the ordinances. And in terms of enforcement, Mr. Bomarito or whoever else may enforce the zoning ordinance needs to know what's being enforced. You could, if you worked with dispatch, you could have the planning commission look at the zoning ordinance and suggest current revisions that might be helpful. I think a lot of the zoning ordinance provisions relate from the early 2000s. We're 25 years and more into that. There may be some updates that you want. You've already talked about the data centers. And so you could have a comprehensive redo of your zoning ordinance. But in the meantime, people are in limbo. So whatever you do, I would encourage you to do it certainly rightly. It has to be done correctly, but without a lot of delay. I think it should come from the planning commission under the state statute that governs zoning and planning, or planning and zoning. There are some requirements with respect to who has input, holding of public hearings, because the law says to amend a zoning ordinance, you have to do the same things that you would to adopt one, which is to have a public hearing, and there are some other requirements. So it's not quite so easy as if somebody made a motion tonight, well, I pick the online version, and then there's a support for it, and it passes. The problem is, you've just adopted a zoning ordinance, and that's okay. That's in and of itself isn't the problem, but you haven't jumped through the hoops. So you just, and I don't mean to sound like somebody's parent, but you just can't do nothing. It's not an acceptable state of existence. And one of the things that greatly concerns me is that, and I realize because I'm of an age that I am, and I've been in town as long as I have, I hate to say, well, this is the way we used to do it, but I have to say part of that, because the practice was there would be an ordinance presented, it would be discussed, it might be amended, it might be revised, it might be go through a couple of iterations, and then it would come back to the table and the board would pass it. In that ordinance, I'm not talking about just the zoning ordinance, I'm talking about anything. It could be animal control, it could be anything. Adoption of the motor vehicle code that the village has, the state of Michigan motor vehicle code. But that ordinance would then be certified by the clerk. She would, or he would, apply the seal to it. At the time, or at one time, the Romeo Observer was being published, and it would be published, or a synopsis would be published, and there would be a certificate of publication, either of the ordinance or the notice or synopsis, and it would be physically attached to the ordinance, and it would be filed in the vault. So that you should be able to, and I know using should's not a good idea, but I'm gonna get out over my skis here. You should be able to go into the vault and pull out ordinance number, whatever it is, for the zoning ordinance, and that is your zoning ordinance. And you then would conform the printed book to it, or toss out the printed book, or you would conform the online version to the actual ordinance. The problem is apparently.
The vault is empty.
The ordinance can't be located.
Someone threw it all
which
away.
Which kind of astounds me, but we are where we are. So you're
Or they
actually
placed
gonna
it
have
somewhere else.
to a certain degree, start over.
So if we've got nothing supporting any updates or changes to the ordinances since the black binder that most of us have received, then how can we even verify that that update's correct? I mean, if it's just online, who's to say someone didn't?
But it's not just online, when
I
they're
understand,
done
but
and
if
they're
there's nothing
submitted to
to support
MuniCode,
it?
you submit the actual ordinance to MuniCode. So if it's
understand.
there, it existed, it exists.
Someone typed it and
And
submitted it, but if
and
there's
I
no
would think-
supporting documentation for it,
The way.
That's what he's saying, do it over again.
yeah, that's what, yeah.
Readopt.
The way, and I'm sorry for trotting out the parade of horribles, but the way it used to work is, every month or 4 months, quarterly, 6 months, somebody in the village office, I think it was the clerk, but that duty could have been delegated, would contact MuniCode and say, we've had some ordinance updates, we would like you to incorporate it into our ordinance book. Off they would go, and lo and behold, supplements or updates to the ordinance book would come back with a sheet where they're inserted.
Put 'em in,
Yeah, take this one out, put this one in. And so it's possible
In some
that.
point in time, we stopped doing that.
And I'm not saying we should return to the Flintstone era, that's not my point. But it would seem like MuniCode maybe would even have a version of the ordinance that was submitted. The original wouldn't have been submitted to them,
So-
but a copy with the publication would have, because if you look in your book or even online, it gives you a date.
Right.
And so the certificate or a copy of it would have been provided too. I would think MuniCode would have that, but I don't know.
So herein lies the problem, because Mark and I have spoken about this a few times too. We went to a self-editing version a number of years ago with the village, where they don't do anything for us, MuniCode that is. We put everything ourselves in there, so when we can't find documentation, we have to just accept that what's on here as gospel, right? And there's some things in here that match up with the book, there's some things that aren't. The last supplemental table that we've had, I think is 2014, you and I were talking, I think it was 2014. There's a number of ordinances that have come, affected sections. Last week, I was going through them. I found about 5 others that affected, and I have question marks on about probably 15 more. So, when I first came in, I said, oh, yay, I got all the ordinances online. I didn't realize it was much worse than what it originally presented itself as. And so that's the problem. We are on, as far as MuniCode, we upload all of our forms, all of our ordinances. I was able to find, what did I say, like 501 up to like 530. But we don't have anything really. We have sparsely scattered in there some ordinances in the 400s that are still valid. But we don't even have all of the 500s, and all the 500s are within the last 8 years. So what I'm trying to do right now, and I started last week, was come up with a supplementary table of what changed what. Like, if you look in your books, if they've been handed down to you, I know Megan had probably the most up-to-date in our building. I know Mark has probably the most up-to-date in the village.
If I could interject, because when I first got on, mine was not updated, and I asked several times the past clerk for updates. Finally got one. I think mine was through 18 or 2020.
See, the only thing I have says 14 was the last time the village codified that book as our
I'll have to
laws.
go through mine, because I
Yeah.
remember I took it to Miriam, and I was like, you show me how to do all this?
Yeah, because if you look in
Inserts
that,
and this and that?
if you
Yeah.
look in that book, it'll give you your supplement history, and it'll say what sections were affected, and then it'll give you a new,
But if I may, moving forward, our plan of attack is that we would ask the planning commission per se to pick which one. I would recommend the online version. hold the public hearing and readopt. Is that
And,
correct?
and then recommend that to the council, and the council, you can again hold a public hearing. I don't believe you're required to. I think if the planning commission holds a public hearing on the adoption, and I think it's, but I'll double check all of this. I think it's one public hearing, and then they can recommend, the planning commission can to the council. The council has the opportunity or the ability to have another public hearing, but I don't think a second public hearing before the board is necessary, and adopt it. You have to, because right now, it's just a merry-go-round ride.
And at this point, we don't have enough time to, planning commission meeting is,
It's gonna have to be March.
so we don't have enough time to post that, so we can move with intention for March.
I mean, I can release
Well,
the notice tomorrow, but yeah.
It has to be, it has to be 2 weeks.
If planning has discussion in February, we could have the public hearing at our council meeting in February.
Technically, I
Which
believe
is,
so.
I mean, it's a week ahead, right, because we're a week late, so it's a week different, but
Yes, maybe. And my hesitation is, while I think only one public hearing is required, I think that required public hearing occurs at the
PC,
planning
okay.
commission. I believe. And
Do it for
I'll-
March.
Again, I can look at that and confirm that to Ms. Poznanski, but as long as you're gonna go through this, you don't wanna have to do it twice.
Right.
Do it March 7th.
And, yeah, so we'll post the hearing notice, we will do that, and in the meantime, if any 2 residents would like to volunteer to be alternates to the ZBA, now's your chance. I mean, turn in a letter of interest. With that, we have our last public comment. Do we have any more public comment? You better. Yeah.
We're all tired, I'm gonna keep it real brief. I just wanted to say, as a resident of the village, I'd like to see a high priority placed on our safety, which includes our police department, which is significantly underpaid. I know we're getting into budget season, I know we're trying to figure this all out, I know we're trying to plan ahead. I know it would be a lot easier for residents to swallow a safety, what did you call it?
Public
again?
safety.
Thank you. If we could find a way to stop paying the boards, all of the boards, divert all of that money to our safety. It would be a lot easier. I know we're all smart, we can figure this out. I know it was said once, we have to get paid. I gotta believe there's some way to do this, and give it to our police department. Lastly, since the board approved our tax mills to be charged, 3 of you have voted no on the budget and have continued to vote no on the bills. And I think that's great, you're sticking to your guns, but I think it would be helpful for the residents to understand what your concerns are. If you're gonna continue to vote no, what are we concerned about? What should we be concerned about? Because clearly there's a problem. I haven't heard any suggestions of solutions or what the problem is. So as a resident, I'd like to hear that if that's gonna continue. So that's all, thanks.
Any more public comment?
Do I have to repeat my name once more?
You don't have.
No? Okay. Here we go. All right. Madam President and this board, I'd like to commend you tonight for passing the moratorium for 1 year on data centers. That's a huge first step to make. Well done on this. I would also like to thank the gentleman who presented the resolution forward as well. On that same note, there's talk of developing the Ford Motor Company property on 701 32 Mile Road and what the future of that property is going to be like. And something that this board should leave tonight thinking about is that when these data centers come to town, like Madam President said, they will often fight for property tax abatements and exemptions in the consent judgment after they get done fighting with the municipality. One of the big thrusts of this is the school system. In the event that the proposed data center in Washington Township comes to pass and is constructed, Romeo Community Schools stands to lose $216,174 per year of revenue. In a hypothetical scenario where, let's say, a data center developer approaches Ford Motor Company and a data center is proposed at the property of Romeo Ford, Romeo Community Schools could stand to lose $287,254 a year in revenue. My high school diplomas from Romeo, I certainly don't want to see that happen here. I don't think anyone on this board wants to see that happen. Again, I commend the actions of this board tonight. Fight the good fight. Let's do this together. Thank you.
Any more public comment?
Motion to adjourn?
No, hold on.
Just one more thing. The sheet I gave you, it has all the information that you need to, we were talking about tonight, as far as water. Water depletion and cooling systems, electromagnetic pollution, energy consumption and grid strain, environmental risk, noise and thermal pollution, air quality and toxic emissions, land use, and ecological disruption. So it's all there. And I don't know, I didn't get an email back from anybody. I sent everybody videos and information. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Megan? Okay, I just wondered. Because I got an email back from Washington, because I sent them a bunch of things. But I have talked to some of the farmers, and they're not happy about this. Now, there is a statute, Right to Farm Act. Are you familiar with that, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. That can stop that, too, because it affects the farming. I mean, if you have PFAS coming out of the turbines on top of these data centers, I mean, it taints the water and everything. I don't care what Palantir says, it's not true. Everyone I've talked to about these, they go, you don't want it in your townships or cities, because they told them the same thing, and now they're suffering big time. But anyway, kudos to you guys. Thanks. You did a good job tonight, you know. We appreciate all you can do, and thanks.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Fowler.
Motion to adjourn?
Support. Motion by Fowler, support by Rosso. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?